I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? Are you kidding me? I thought this was a jitty. It looks like Saquon Barkley, John.
I don't know. You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Greetings, everybody. Happy Thursday morning to you all. Hope you all had a nice Wednesday. I am about dead even right now. If the Angels stay under 5 runs, it'll be a profitable day for me. So they've got 2. It's the bottom of the 6th, but they also have a man on third, so we'll see. So hopefully it's a profitable day. We'll find out momentarily. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Shout out to PrizePicks. Filling the shoes of TV Jones is sports scientist Jacob. Jacob, do you think you can fill the shoes of Jones?
A tough job to do. I have to call a lot of slump busting. I don't know if I can do all that. And I gotta be a pass. I gotta talk about the Brewers tomorrow. So yeah, the Brewers got it done today. No, it's the Padres. Oh, the Padres got it done today.
Or the Brewers got it done.
So we should probably shoot those rumors down. TV Jones did tell me in advance that he wouldn't be able to make it. He's going to be out the next 3 or 4 days. So this is not him running scared of the Brewers, which I know the comments are going to accuse him. Oh. This is a scheduled TV Jones absence. I actually forget what he even said he had to do, but he won't be around until next week. So, yeah. For those of you that want to stick around, we've got 10 MLB games. Step on a Duck coming on. We've got, I think, six or seven college football topics. Few games, few team previews. So for those of you that want to stick around and talk college football, hang out after. Yeah, we've got 10 games. So let's go ahead and get into it. And the first one is Parker Messick making a road start here against Detroit. Now, first of all, thank you, Toast. I tailed you on Cleveland, and you kind of talked me into it, which that win might be the reason I had a profitable day. So good call on Cleveland. Parker Messick's on the mound. They got him as a road favorite. Where are you at on this one?
Did I not have a sheet for this one, or did I just not click it out?
No, you have one.
Oh, there it is. Okay,
yep,
good.
I got one right
anyway.
here.
All right. I just hate when I miss them like that. Anyway, I did see somebody really quickly in the Discord say that somebody please fact check this because it is our Discord at times, but they said it was like their 9,999th win or something like that.
Yeah,
as a team.
Cleveland's 9,000. Yeah. So if the Cleveland wins, according to this guy in our group chat, if Cleveland wins, it'll be their 10,000th franchise win. Again, not sure. Did not verify.
Yeah, didn't verify, but and not that it affects my bet in this game, but I know that some people enjoy seeing stuff like that. So I did want to throw that out there.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, cool. I'll take that. So I kind of lean the Tigers at this price personally. It's just more of a price thing for me. I also don't like the fact that Cleveland used a lot of their bullpen arms today. Cade Smith's probably not going to be available, and the Tigers got to rest all their arms, and they have a significant advantage in the bullpen. And I mean, I just feel like if Kiter Montero can get through 3 or 4 innings and have this game, I think the Tigers can actually make this a game. I'm really confused by the price because I think that these teams aren't that much of a difference. I would think that the Tigers are a little bit better. And I know that like Riley Green went on the IL today. I don't really think that moves the needle a ton. He's a good player, but again, it shouldn't be moving the needle like more than 5 or 10 cents like that. So I definitely lean Detroit on the price, but it's not something that I have moved on yet.
What about you, Jacob? Do you agree that you think Detroit should be slightly a little more favored than this?
I think the full game with the way the Guardians bullpen set up, it's probably a decent bet to take the Tigers. I mean, the Guardians bullpen hasn't even been good as of recently. I think I kind of wanted to isolate Parker Messick versus Montero. I mean, we look at the Tigers against left-handed pitching. I mean, if you look at the starters that they faced, they haven't done anything to lefties beside the Athletics pitching staff. And 2 of those games were obviously in Sacramento. They touched up Gage Jump. But like Noah Cameron went 7 shutout. David Peterson went 6 1/3 shutout. Detmer 6 shutout. And I mean, Messick, he's a lefty with reverse splits. So he's going to see a bunch of righties in the Tigers lineup tomorrow, especially with Riley Green on the IL too. and he's amazing against righties. And I mean, this is a guy with a 2.32 road ERA this season. I mean, I took the Guardians first 5 money line. I laid juice at -138. I think it should honestly be like -160. Montero has fallen off a cliff. Like, this guy was pitching pretty solid to start the season, but in his last couple starts, 6 innings, 5 earned. Everyone pitches good against the Athletics. 4 innings, 4 earned. And we can say this: the Guardians line has been heating up a little bit. They're a top 5 unit in baseball in the last 2 weeks, and a upper echelon lineup in the last month. They've lost a couple games recently, but surprisingly, unlike AL Central unders, a lot of their games have been going over because they've been scoring. So
I gotta say, I like what you pointed out right here. You look at the Tigers against lefties. You look at the numbers; they look great against lefties. Their overall team numbers, but you actually take a look at the game logs, like what Jacob was just explaining. Look at them against lefties that don't pitch for the A's. They didn't touch Noah Cameron, David Peterson, Detmers, Christopher Sanchez. I don't know. That we're only talking about four games here, so not that necessarily changes everything. But I do think it is an interesting observation. They rocked a few lefties with the A's. They saw the A's twice. I don't hate the idea of Parker Messick pitching well, but like Toes pointed out, without Cade Smith, and Jacob, you said it also, I definitely think the Tigers. Remember, we took Cleveland partly because the Tigers' bullpen was taxed. Well, tonight, Cleveland's bullpen, this upcoming game, it's the opposite. Cleveland's bullpen is going to be a bit more taxed. So I think the Tigers definitely have the advantage late. Where are you at on this one, Spoon?
I lean Cleveland money line. I agree with Jacob that there's less volatility involved with the first 5, but you also have to pay like 30 extra cents to get the first 5. I know Cade Smith is going to be unavailable. He threw almost 40 pitches tonight, but every other arm in that Cleveland bullpen is available. Everybody had 2 days off coming into tonight. I still think Holderman, Gaddis, Sabrowski can get this game home. I think we have a serious starting pitching edge right here with Parker Messick, not only because the Tigers aren't that great versus lefties and Parker Messick's been pitching well, but because Kiner Montero hasn't been pitching well. We look at 2 of his last 3 starts, Baltimore, San Francisco, and the Athletics. He gave up 5 earned, 0 and 4. The Athletics in Baltimore, specifically during that time, were not hitting anybody. I think Montero is starting to have some second half fatigue type stuff. He does not look super sharp out there. Cleveland's bats have definitely got a shot in the arm here recently with their additions. I like Cleveland outright in this game.
Wow.
I think you two are being a little hard on Kiner Montero. You guys really honed on the fact that he had 2 of the last 3 starts were bad, but negated to talk about the previous 15 before that.
I've spent like a year and a half on this show saying Kiner Montero's decent, and then hearing everybody else be like, all right, he's not.
We've never been a Kiner Montero haters.
Against lefty bats, I could definitely classify as a hater.
Let's check the tape.
I have said a number of times that I will never trust Kiner Montero against lefties, and Cleveland is loaded with lefties. I'll be guilty as charged if you check the tape on that one. So I guess I do like Cleveland early, Detroit late. Pass, man.
Agreed.
Remember at the beginning of the season when Parker Messick was like your second child?
I remember I came on the show and I was the one. I got Kyle to bet Parker Messick against the Dodgers.
He did, yeah. Jacob showed me his righty-lefty splits. He was very good at getting lefty bats out in the minor leagues. Jacob was the one that showed me that. That is true. Let's talk Pirates Marlins. So yeah, I've lost with the Pirates 2 days in a row.
They closed well.
Did it really close well today?
Yeah, no, it did. It closed at like, what was it, like plus 100?
I don't think my Pirates bet the other day closed. No, because I took it late, so the other day it didn't.
Maybe I'm wrong.
So this,
well, you took it on the opposite end though. That was on purpose.
Yeah, the 2 days ago I took the Skeens day. I took it super late. So Ashcraft against Tyler Phillips, Spoon. I can't really even look at this Pirates team right now. This lineup just can't score. Where are you at? You have any faith in this lineup right now? Wow, they're 29.
I don't have any faith in the Pirates lineup right now. Tyler Phillips has been very back and forth throughout the course of the season. When he's seen mediocre lineups, he's gone out there and been able to pitch pretty efficiently, giving you like 5 innings of 2-run baseball. I think that's a very possible outcome tomorrow. He does have some bad lefty splits where the Pirates can stack some lefties in there, but just the way they're swinging the bats right now, I don't think it matters. Ashcraft, pretty much same to be said. He had a great start to the season, and then the last month he's fallen off. 5 earned versus Milwaukee, 7 versus the Yankees, 7 versus the Cubs. Had a good game versus Cincinnati, and then 4 more versus Milwaukee. I think this is a decent Miami lineup for him to see. Those are a lot of really big lineups right there. The Marlins have taken a step back from earlier in the season. I think Ashcraft can also pitch all right. I kind of like an under in this game. I would go right back to the Marlins too from a money line perspective, but I don't have a bet yet.
So Marlins or under, but it's a pass. Jacob, agree with any of that?
Yeah, I spent 30 minutes looking at this game, and honestly, it's why are the Pirates favored? Is what you just off your intuition want to think. You're they're playing so bad. Their coach literally said they felt sorry for themselves after they lost the game. They're 5-15 in their last 20 games. But I mean, Ashcraft's not even looked good. This is going to be his 3rd straight road start. He's off of giving up 4 earned runs against Milwaukee. He gave up 4 earned runs to Chicago, 7 earned to the Yankees. This will be the 2nd time Miami's seen him. And it's not Tyler Phillips has a lower home ERA than Braxton Ashcraft does on the road. So I think the Marlins lineup is hitting better. It's their whole bullpen rested and surprisingly pitching okay. It's this is that I know ball take where it's oh, do they really? They're 5-15. They can't lose another game, right? I really think the Marlins should not be plus 115.
Ashcraft really hasn't looked quite the same the second half of the year. Where are you at, Toast?
Miami. I don't understand the price. I think that both of these teams are essentially equal. I mean, on paper and in my head, that they're very similar. I thought coming out of the All-Star break the trade deadline that this Pirates team would, I don't know about take a full step forward with the whole team, but I thought that pitching staff would, but it doesn't really matter if you have a good bullpen if you can't score runs. And I think sports scientist Jacob mentioned it. Tyler Phillips, yes, his numbers aren't eye-popping, but if you go through his starts at home, they've been pretty damn impressive. So I'm just not at a point where I know that there's a whole bunch of lefties in that lineup and he struggles with lefties and yada, yada, yada. But I'm at a point right now where I have to actually see this lineup, this Pirates lineup actually do something for a couple days before I can actually bet them, let alone bet them as a favorite on the road. Miami has all their bullpen pieces just like the Pirates do. I don't feel like the Pirates should be favorites in this game either. It would only be Miami for me.
I don't understand why.
Not to mention Miami's 2 games back from the wild card spot or something. They should probably be trying to stack some consecutive home wins here.
Somebody somewhere is taking a stance on the Pirates and take every single all the early action you would imagine is coming in on the Marlins right now. Someone somewhere is just eating up all that liquidity that likes something on the Pirates.
Have you heard of get your lick back?
Yeah, I feel like it's just a constant get your lick back, and they've lost 15 of the last 20 games.
I tried getting my lick back today. My lick was not gotten back. I got licked again. This Pirates team sucks. I don't know. I probably, if I was to bet it, I probably would go. I probably would side with Spoon on the under, maybe. No shot, man. No shot. All right, what's next?
The Bronx Bombers.
Yeah. Shout out Yankees. Went down early. Didn't matter. All you guys, not you, Jacob. You weren't here. But everyone else on the show was laughing at me, making fun of me for thinking the Yankees would score runs on, who was it? Bryce Miller. I tried to tell you guys Bryce Miller hasn't looked the same. No one wanted to listen to me. Shout out Yankees. Toast. Max Fried against the Mariners lineup. You think this is a favorable position for him?
Yes, I do. Max Fried has had a 2-week stretch where he didn't look good or whatever, but I don't think it really matters versus this Mariners lineup. I know that they popped up today against Will Warren, but I haven't been a fan of Will Warren for a while now. I didn't bet the game, so I'm happy that Kyle won, but it's just so typical Seattle to get out, hit some home runs, be feeling good. They have one of their good pitchers on the mound with the bullpen behind him, and it didn't matter at all. And I think that's just kind of where Seattle's season's going right now. They can't hit left-handed pitching to save their life. If you look at the names on the list of our spreadsheet and stuff like that, it's really not impressive. The numbers aren't impressive. I mean, the most impressive one that they have is 728 when they faced Robleski, and they got 5 runs from him. But even him over the last couple of weeks hasn't really looked like himself. So I don't even know if really how impressive that is. I don't have anything bad to say about Logan Gilbert. He's been really, really good. He goes deep into games. I have nothing bad to say about Logan Gilbert, but I still think that the Yankees have a small pitching advantage. I still think that this Yankees offense will only continue to get better. I'm not trying to make a case that they're good or anything like that, but I don't think they're going to continue to be one of the worst offenses in baseball. I think they're going to be around that 15 to 20 number. And even if they get that of their offense, I think that gives them a pretty decent advantage offensively. The Yankees bullpen, they have Hedrick on back-to-back days at 24 pitches or something like that. Everybody else should be, and he should be fine as well. I can't find a reason to bet the Mariners besides, like I said yesterday, it's just a price thing. But I didn't bet the Mariners yesterday because I wasn't comfortable, even though I was getting a good price. And it would only be the Yankees for me today. I can't fall back into that trap.
Here's the problem. Yesterday, or earlier tonight, I should say, I bet the Yankees because it was more of a fade of Bryce Miller because his xFIP was just falling off a cliff, and I just thought he peaked and kind of was trailing downwards for the season. I don't know if I would say the same thing about Logan Gilbert. I mean, when's the last time Logan Gilbert didn't put together? He's been just quality start after quality start. No, he's not putting up Cy Young numbers, but he's going out there and giving you a quality start every single time. So my bet on the Yankees wasn't necessarily like, I think the Yankees bats are back. I think it was a fade. It was more of a fade of Bryce Miller with wind blowing out to the short porch at right field. Now, wind is blowing out to the short porch again, but I trust Logan Gilbert to deal with all these lefties more than I trust. I don't hate Logan Gilbert pitching well. I don't know if I trust the Mariners to get to Fried, but I kind of would lean. Where are you at, Jacob? If you can get like plus 135, I don't really hate looking towards Seattle. Where are you at, Jacob?
If Trevor was here, he'd tell you can't bet the Yankees because they scored double digits. So they're going to score less runs tomorrow. They're going to score less runs tomorrow. No, Kyle, I agree with you. I think Logan Gilbert, this guy goes 6 to 7 innings of he's giving up runs, but he's giving up runs in the 6th inning or 7th inning after he's completely shoved.
He's been really good. He's been better than these numbers show right here. He looks good.
Yeah. People see those numbers. You have to look at the amount of innings he's pitched. He's gone in the 7th inning, 5 times in the last 8 or 9 games. His numbers against lefties are elite. It's all he's going to see tomorrow. And I know, the Yankees scored double digits today. Still don't trust their offense. They got to Bryce Miller, who's been terrible. On the other side, Max Fried's now, multiple starts back from his injury, and Seattle, their offense sucks too. They scored 5 runs today. That's a shot in the dark. The Mariners can't hit left-handed pitching. So, I took the first 3 under 2.5. I got minus 136. It was the only book I can get actual money on, but you could have got better than that. But I think the under. I took the under today, and obviously I lost in the 5th inning. I think there's just 2 better starting pitchers on the mound, so I like the under again early. I don't mind the full game under too. The bullpens are good to go.
So why not Spoon? I'm going to pass it to you because I found a bet that I think I might really take. Why wouldn't I go? Tell me why I wouldn't go. Here, Spoon.
It's going to take the Yankees team total under.
Can you see it on the screen, Spoon?
Yeah, Seattle first 5 money line.
Plus 130? Logan Gilbert for plus 130.
How much do you have to pay for the half run? I know Toast would hate that. But...
Minus 125 for the half run.
Yeah, that's too much. That's too much.
No, pay the dollar. Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I'm going to
Logan Gilbert's been really good. The velocity's coming up on the fastball. This is the guy you were talking about last night when we were talking about splits, home and road. He's got worse splits at home in T-Mobile than he does on the road. He's got a 2.5 road ERA this season. I think he's dialed in pitching really well. I don't see the Yankees getting more than a run off him tomorrow in his start, which I expect him to go probably 6 1/3, 6 2/3. My projection there. So I don't hate the first 5 money line. I'm just wondering where the run's coming from because Max Fried's pitching really well. This Seattle offense is just, I mean, bottom of the barrel, 25th in baseball, WRC plus, 29th in OPS full season. The numbers don't look better no matter how you split it. I like what Jacob said there with the first 3 under. I also took the first 3 under. I paid minus 125. That's sitting like 140-ish and it's going to continue to climb on that. I like the full game under. I know these bullpens are a little bit taxed, but I just don't see it with these offenses. It opened 8. It's already down to 7.5. I'm not going to be shocked to see it juice 7.5 or 7s on the other side tomorrow. I don't expect a lot of runs, so definitely the dog has some value there. But I don't think I'm putting my money on it.
I'm taking that Mariners first 5 plus 130. I don't think the Yankees are going to get like Jacob pointed out. Logan Gilbert's given up runs in the 6th inning towards the tail end of these starts. I think it's very possible the Yankees have 0 runs on the board after 5. So all I need to do is one of these overpriced Seattle bats to just put one out of that Yankee Stadium porch.
I wouldn't expect the Yankees to be 20 cents extra favorites in the first 5.
I also
That's
like,
weird.
and brace yourself, what I'm about to say is so stupid. So like, I don't think what I'm saying is not smart, but I also like how yesterday I took the Yankees and all the poll was Mariners and everyone hated my Yankees pick. And now today I'm taking the Mariners and all the polls Yankees and everyone's hating. So I kind of like that, even though that is dumb and you shouldn't care about that. But I like it. All right, I'm taking Mariners first 5 and Mariners full game because I live life like that. What can I get? What's the best I can get for Mariners full game?
Jesus Christ.
What?
135 on the blue one.
I'm in there.
I didn't realize how. It doesn't matter. Actually, never mind.
Sorry to hold the show up. I want to bet the Mariners. Or trade them.
Yankees have seen Logan Gilbert 2 times in the last year for 11 innings. They have 9 runs against him. His last 2 starts in Yankee Stadium, 11 innings, 7 runs. Woo!
Yeah, the Yankees also used to be a good line.
Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger were playing.
Mariners up. All right, let's move on to the
I
next
don't even
one.
know what Judge's numbers are against Gilbert.
All right, what's next? Reds, White Sox. What was the final score of this game? Like 4-0?
5-0. Shout out White Sox, my favorite team, Trevor. Shout out White Sox. They're winning the best team in the AL.
Best team in the AL. Jacob, why don't you bat lead off here? Andrew Abbott in the Windy City against Davis Martin, who some people are saying is unreliable now. What do you say to the people who say Davis Martin can't be trusted? What do you say to them?
Yeah, Davis Martin's obviously been getting clobbered in some of his starts, giving up some runs. Surprisingly, for as bad as his starts have been recently, this is still a guy with a sub-3 home ERA. Gave up runs to the Yankees, Houston, Boston. He is going to be on extra rest because his last start got cut short because of the I think it was a rain delay where like he pitched an inning and then they had to not bring him back out. But I mean, this Reds offense is pretty anemic. I'm not sure if you watched them today. Luis Castillo had like 10 strikeouts through into like the 7th or 8th inning. I think Davis Martin can honestly bounce back. I mean, Sean Burke just went 7 innings, 1 earned. Davis Martin was pitching fine to start the year. He ran into probably that second half of the season arm fatigue. Don't see why the White Sox can't really, keep trying to stack wins. But Andrew Abbott on the other side, he's going out there and giving you like quality starts. He's pitching deep in the games. He's going like 6 innings, which the Reds need him to do because their bullpen's been, mediocre the second half of the season. Both the bullpens are fully available. I kind of like the under personally. I mean, we saw a 5-0 game today. You really just need one of the lineups to no-show. And I got to be honest, I'd probably lean toward the White Sox. I think they have the significant offensive advantage. I don't really know if I want to lay 130, though. Davis Martin has looked kind of shaky.
Well, the one thing I was looking at with Martin is he struggled a lot more with lefty bats. the Reds don't really have lefties like that. I mean, De La Cruz is going to be batting for the left side. He's a switch hitter. And then you got JJ Bleday. Maybe one more lefty hidden in the lineup. The Reds do not have the ability to stack lefties against Davis Martin. Spoon, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. The Reds are going to be able to put maybe 2-3 tops, and you really only worry about De La Cruz and Bleday there. Davis Martin's definitely dealing with something in his arm. Last year, he got up to like 140 innings, had a forearm strain that kept him out for a decent chunk of time there in the second half. I think you're going through something similar. This is a guy young in his career. It's never really built up to the amount of innings you're getting to. He's already surpassed like 125 innings this season. I think that's what's going on here. I don't think the Reds are a team that's really going to punish him. But on the opposite side, Andrew Abbott, I think he can go out there and pitch pretty well. I'd like Cincinnati at this price. I don't think Davis Martin should be considered the better pitcher in this matchup. I guess you could say that the White Sox have the better offense, but when it comes down to bullpens, I mean, it's pretty much a wash. You should have everybody available back for the White Sox after the heavy outing there right before. But yeah, this is tough for me, but I like Cincinnati at the plus number.
I don't think I have much interest in this game, and then now you guys are on opposite sides too. Toast, do you have anything for me?
I mean, I could run through the game. There's not a chance in hell I actually bet this game, but for me, I mean, it would only be the Reds if I actually had to bet it. I mean, Davis Martin has now given up, 18 earned runs over his last 17 innings since the beginning of June. It's a 6.83 ERA, 173 WHIP. Only struck out 37, walked 24. It's been mediocre at very best. I agree with you that on paper this Reds team shouldn't get to him, but I don't trust Davis Martin in any way, shape, or form right now. So it would only be the Reds for me. I do think that they have a little bit of a starting pitching advantage. I think the offenses are, kind of a wash, honestly, the way that they've been hitting recently. So it would only be the Reds for me. I'm not betting this.
Wind kind of blowing in. You know what? If I was forced to bet this game, I would probably side with Jacob on that under. But pass. Emphasis on the pass there. All right. Next up, it's just tough. It's tough to take an under with Davis Martin right now. If something really is wrong with him,
I think the extra rest might help him because of the arm fatigue stuff. But yeah, I don't know. He's looked really bad.
Toast, would you classify the Toronto Blue Jays as back?
Sure. They're a hot team this week.
This week they're hot team this week.
No, in the last 40 minutes, they have 120 WRC points.
I was trying to be as positive as possible.
TV Jones will deadass be like, "Yo, they have the best bullpen in baseball in the last 4 days." So Toast, any more faith in the Toronto Blue Jays today than you had in them 72 hours ago? How about that?
Not anymore, but I don't think that Toronto has been playing as bad as people think they are. I mean, over the last 21 games, they're going to be 13-8. Boston over the last 21 games is, guess what? 13-8. So I think there's a perception out here that Boston is playing super, super well and they're winning all these games and now they're on a small losing streak and Toronto's terrible. They're not winning anything. They can't win. But really these teams are, if you take a little bit of a step back, they're playing pretty much at the same level. For me, the question is, what are you going to get out of Max Scherzer? Is he going to continue to go out there and deal? Because I would argue that he has faced, 3 straight starts. The Washington start was kind of short and weird, and he was coming back home to Washington and all that stuff. So I kind of throw that out. But against St. Louis and Philadelphia, 2 offenses that can't do dick to save their life, he looks really good. And this Boston offense has really fallen off of a cliff lately, and I don't really know. That's where it's really hard for me to figure out what we're going to get out of Max Scherzer here. I don't have a bad thing to say about Peyton Tolle. He's continued all year long to pitch fantastic. There's no lefties in that lineup for Toronto for us to worry about. I would be under or Toronto for me. I can't bet Toronto because Varland's on 2 of the last 3. It's a small pitch count. He's going to be available and stuff. But I really want to bet Toronto. I just don't know if I'm getting a good enough price for myself. So, yeah.
Boston, not exactly loaded with lefties. Spoon, why don't you weigh in on Max Scherzer? He's definitely looked better as of late. Couple of good starts in a row against the Phillies and Cardinals. Does that do anything for you?
Yeah, he looks the healthiest he's looked all season. So he's had 2 stints on the IL so far. The first time came back, immediately goes back to the IL. Comes back. It wasn't a rain-shortened start. It was just a short start for him. 2 1/3 innings pitched. Didn't look great versus Washington, but got out there, was healthy on the mound. The next 2 games back, I mean, you can say St. Louis and Philadelphia are not swinging the bats, but they've been decent compared to some of the competition we've seen across the board here recently. I think Max Scherzer is going to go out there and pitch just fine versus Boston tomorrow. I don't expect 2018 Max Scherzer to show up or anything, but 5-6 innings of 2-run baseball seems possible. And Peyton Tolley, I expect even better than that. This Toronto team cannot hit lefties. Peyton Tolley has been on a tear here recently, pitching really good games versus the Athletics, versus the Dodgers. And you can say the Athletics competition's probably lesser, but you can only throw the ball against who you're seeing. The Red Sox are going out there, they're winning the games that he's pitching, and he's pitching very well, especially for a second season here in the bigs. I took this first 3 under 2.5 minus 120. It's at minus 125-ish, 130-ish, depending where you're looking right now. I expect that to continue to close well. I'm also looking at Boston full game. I just don't really see how Toronto gets that many runs on the board. Even if Max Scherzer doesn't have a bad game and him and Tolley just kind of turn this into a pitcher's duel for the first 6 innings or so, once the bullpens come in, Toronto's still pretty taxed here. Chapman, Garrett Whitlock haven't pitched in 3 days now. I think Boston has a significant bullpen advantage in this game. I can only get to Boston on a sidewise.
Yeah, Boston's bullpen. Boston's bullpen this year, first in xFIP, first in ERA. That's on the full season and in the last 30 days. So no question, Boston definitely has the advantage late. They have the better bullpen and the more rested bullpen. I can get with that. Where are you at on this one, Jacob? It's tough to ignore right here. The Blue Jays game logs against lefty starters are really ugly looking.
Yeah, what was the score today? I mean, Ranger Suarez pitched amazing too. I think he gave up like 1 earned run or something. They weren't doing anything against left-handed pitching. Doesn't change it tomorrow. Peyton Tolley's an even better lefty. 204 expected batting average, 281 expected ERA. It's like win day when they go out there. Spoon likes Boston full game. They've won 6 straight Peyton Tolley starts. 2 of them were against the Athletics, but he pitched well against the Dodgers, the Mets, Baltimore. I personally think Max Scherzer can go out there early, pitch pretty well. He's obviously still has some sort of swing and miss stuff, and surprisingly, he's not really walking a lot of people. He had 1 walk in his last 11 innings. I also took that first 3 under 2.5 at minus 120, and I kept staring at it. I know it's really, really pricey, which is like the books are really charging you for, but I think the Red Sox win this game. I'm not a run line kind of guy, not with the way Boston's playing. So I honestly would just lay the juice. I do agree that Toronto's bullpen is still taxed. Like they went up like 6-1 or something, but it got really shaky. They used like Waldron in the 9th inning, and then they had to bring in Varland to close the game again because he was getting rocked. So, yeah, I also like I have a half unit on Toronto's team total under 3.5 at minus 120. I still don't trust them against left-handed pitching, and if Boston has their whole bullpen available, I don't see why. I think tonight, getting runs off of that bullpen, it was. I mean, William Contreras or whatever dropped the pop fly in the infield on an infield fly rule, and then it went haywire.
I don't hate this one right here. Toronto team total under 3.5 minus 120. You said.
Yeah, that's the number I got.
Yeah, I do think there's a good chance the roof's open tomorrow. When I first looked, there was like 50% chance during game time of rain, and I just checked again. That's down to 20% chance. Always makes it easier to score runs here, which I don't necessarily love.
I don't have any.
Yeah, it won't be closed for the weather. It's pretty nice. It's pretty warm.
Now let's get to the prize picks segment. And first up, we got this is Claude's, and Claude has for the day Taj Bradley higher than 5.5 hits allowed, and Owen Casey higher than a half total base. That's a Claude exclusive. Toast?
Two of them tomorrow, kind of using the books as my guide with their hits, runs, and RBIs and what they're priced at. So Ellie De La Cruz hitting at the top of that lineup, higher than 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs. And Jake Magnum, a guy that nobody really wants to talk about that has actually been playing really well on the top of that, at the top of that Pittsburgh lineup. Almost a 300 average for the year. He's hit this number a lot lately. Those are my two for tomorrow.
That's brought to you by PrizePicks. Play $5, get $150 if you win. That's by using the promo code HMA. Link is also in the description.
Yo, real quick, fun fact, because Toast put Mangum in his PrizePicks lineup. Do you know he's the all-time career hits leader for the SEC in college baseball?
Is he really?
There's a reason he's batting over 300 in the majors. He was a hitting machine.
An SEC hitting machine. All right. Spoon, tell us what's going on in Cubs Nation. The Brewers get swept. Or is Cubs Nation crawling out of their caves and starting to get into this NL Central race?
I think there's a little bit of a race here. TV Jones doesn't want to acknowledge is coming. Still 6 games left with the Brewers here. The Cubs are winning baseball games. The Brewers are losing baseball games.
Wow.
We know how this works as we get closer to the playoffs. Happens every year. Tomorrow, Kevin Gausman on the mound. Trade line acquisition for the Chicago Cubs, came over, pitched versus the Kansas City Royals, had a great game, 7 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. Can't ask much more than that. And now he sees another pretty weak wash-up Washington lineup. If we look at the full season numbers, this offense looks great, but if we break it down to the bats that are actually in there, who are really scared of, it's CJ Abrams sitting at the top of the order. Kevin Gausman, seasoned vet. I think he can pitch around him. I like the Chicago Cubs here in this game. I feel like we're getting a decent price because, honestly, Washington has a starting pitching advantage with Cade Cavalli out there. The Cubs don't have a bunch of lefties to really get to Cade, but Pete Crow Armstrong, Michael Busch, Ian Happ, I think they can do enough to get him out of there 5-6 innings, and then we get that bullpen in here, and I think we can tear that apart. I like the full game Cubs money line.
Jacob, why'd you go like this?
I just think the price is so sus. Like, why are the Cubs so short?
It's so sus.
It's sus. Why are the Cubs so short? Why are the Cubs so short? Like,
Cade Cavalli is definitely the better starting pitcher here.
Because Gausman hasn't been good.
I ignored the full season starts and just said the one start versus Kansas City.
I'm not arguing that Cavalli hasn't pitched better than Gausman this season, but I mean, he's faced Cincinnati, Toronto, Colorado, the Athletics. The last time he saw he faced the Yankees, who aren't hitting. The Cubs offense is damn near one of the best offenses in baseball. We watched them literally tattoo every starting pitcher they've seen in the, and then for me personally, I'm like, can you even make the Cubs shorter than -130 when the Nationals bullpen's going to come in? How many runs did they put up against the Nationals bullpen in the last 2 games? They played their own 9 innings of baseball off the Nationals bullpen. They would get 5 runs in 1 inning. I don't really hate the Nationals early if you want to back Cavalli. Obviously, he's pitched into this. His outs prop is 15.5, and he's pitched into the 6th inning in 6 straight games? Are the books telling you the Cubs, the Cubs have the highest walk rate in the majors? They force guys to throw a lot of pitches.
Well, when's the last time that Cade Cavalli faced a good lineup?
That's what I'm saying. I just told you that. I just said Toronto, the Yankees, the Athletics. I'm like, he's going to face the Cubs tomorrow. I like the Cubs personally. I think this is insanely short. And I haven't bet it yet because I think it's just oddly short. Who's betting the Nationals tomorrow?
Toast, would you agree that this is oddly short?
No. It's pretty much the same price it was yesterday. It closed yesterday at -150-ish. It's probably going to get close to the same today. Now, I don't really. I know, but it closed at 150. You could have got the Cubs yesterday around 140 cheap, and then it moved up too. So I don't really feel like there's a huge difference here. I agree that I think that the Cubs win, and I said the same thing yesterday. But I'm not willing to lay 140 with them at all, especially with Gausman. I mean, I know that he's been better, but I mean, he's just been average. So I agree it's the Cubs. I have no interest in paying that price.
I mean, Cavalli's been great.
I feel like
Yeah, I agree that he's been gay, but I guess Jacob went over it too. But look at the lineups that he has faced. Stop when you see a lineup that's worries you.
He just pitched in Atlanta.
Okay.
I mean, the
That's
books are
one.
certainly respecting Cavalli here. Like Washington first 5 money line, the best price you can get on that is -102. So like they're not disrespecting Cavalli or anything. I think that's why the full game price is shorter than maybe Jacob expects it to be. I think they're fully baking.
Dude,
Cavalli
the
to be good.
Rangers.
I
The
might-
Rangers suck, by the way. Oh my god.
I might do the same thing I did. I live bet the Cubs yesterday when they were down like 1-0 or something. I might do the same thing tomorrow.
Also, actually, hold on. Let me double check my notes really quickly. Yeah, the Braves have been mediocre versus right-handed pitching. They kill left-handed pitching. They've been mediocre versus right-handed pitching. Cade Cavalli hasn't faced dick. I'm done.
What about this? Based on what you guys are saying, why is this not a look?
Because it's going to be 100 degrees.
All right, let's move on. I guess.
Justin.
I mean,
I think Trevor's on the Cubs too, guys.
is he?
He's a Cubs guy now.
Cubs guy.
He is a Cubs guy now. Wow.
He's been winning with the Cubs though too. So
So he's a Cubs guy. He
Philly-
just has to admit it.
Phillies Twins. Things in Philadelphia are not looking great. Jacob cursing them out in the Discord. Got accused of bailing on his team.
I'm not.
Would you say?
I'm just a salty Philly fan, obviously.
Yeah, that's,
Oh, I bail on the Padres once a week. Don't be ashamed.
we
It
know.
happens.
Yeah.
We know.
Since I moved to Philadelphia, they've been terrible. They won 1 game.
It's
Well,
since,
you should
dude,
probably move
since
away.
LeBron.
Move back.
It's LeBron, bro. Since LeBron.
It is. Yeah, you're right. It's LeBron.
Since LeBron came to Philadelphia, they've been terrible. So Jacob, things in Philadelphia are looking a bit dark. Phillies fans are not feeling very optimistic. Do you have anything holstered to rally the troops here?
No. How many runs per game do you think the Phillies are scoring in the last 7 Aaron Nola starts?
It's an odd question.
One.
That's
They're averaging 1 run of run support for Aaron Nola in his last 7 starts. And Aaron Nola is not even pitching bad. 6 innings, 3 earned, 5 1/3, 1 earned, 6 innings, 3 earned, 5 innings, 2 earned, 5 innings, 2 earned. And they're losing these games even when he pitches quality starts because the Phillies lineup can't score. Kyle Schwarber's hit like outside of that double dong game after the All-Star break. Obviously, he slowed down the home runs. Brandon Marsh was an All-Star first half of the year, was due for regression, slowed down majorly. Bryce Harper's dealing with an injury. He's like limping out a double, basically. The Phillies lineup is struggling. I mean, you can just look at the spreadsheets. It'll tell you they're one of
You
the
hate
worst
to see
lineups
it.
in
Yeah,
baseball.
honestly, it could not happen to a nicer group of people.
On the full season, this is still one of the worst road lineups in baseball. And I'm a big Taj Bradley guy. I know Trevor's a big Taj Bradley guy too. He's made 2. I know this is going to be the Field of Dreams game.
I was going to say, no
but,
one's going to mention the Corns. No one.
this is the field. This is going to be really cool tomorrow. Like I want to buy
it's
one
the
of these
Field of
jerseys.
Dreams
This is
game?
the-
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the Field of Dreams game. So the
Gotta bet
jerseys are really cool. They do a bunch of it's on Netflix. But Taj Bradley's an absolute stud. I mean, the one thing that matches up really good with Taj Bradley is his strikeout rate, 27%. Tomorrow he's going to see the Phillies, who just absolutely love striking out. Taj Bradley goes out there in 7 innings, 1 earned, 6 innings, 2 earned. Listen, I took the under 9. I do not trust the Phillies to score whatsoever. I still think the Twins' offense sucks. I think Aaron Nola can pitch a quality start. I think Taj Bradley will pitch a great game. And like I said, the Phillies don't score when Aaron Nola pitches. I mean, the Phillies against righties are just not, oh my God, not scoring anything. So I know this is the Field of Dreams game. It should be really exciting, but it's not even good weather tomorrow in the Field of Dreams game. It's like wind blowing in. It's not even warm. So I took the under personally. I think it should be 8.5.
Toast, Field of Dreams, under?
Phillies, money line, plus money.
They're only averaging 1 run a game in Nola starts.
That means nothing to me. That means as much to me as that they win they've won 12 of his last 15 starts. Like, I don't put 0 stock into the wins and losses personally. That's just a personal thing for me. So I agree with Trevor, our sports scientist Jacob. I think that Trevor Nola is like the lowest hanging fruit in Major League Baseball. That as soon as he gives up a home run, even though he had pitched 5 innings of 2 or 3 run baseball, it's like, oh, Aaron Nola, the home run, Durka. It's just such a joke. And it's not like I'm not trying to get up here on a soapbox and defend Aaron Nola, but
Sounds like
at the same time, this Twins team cannot hit to save their life. And yes, the Phillies team can't either, but I just feel like the Phillies are the better team, and I know that the Phillies haven't been playing well, but I don't think that the starting pitching advantage is that great for Taj Bradley over Aaron Nola. Yes, Taj Bradley has pitched better, but over his last 5 starts, he's been, him and Aaron Nola are pretty damn equal. It's 5 or 6 innings of 2 or 3 run baseball. I mean, I don't think there's a huge advantage there. The Phillies going to have their full bullpen behind them. I just feel like this is a Phillies type of spot. I don't think you should be getting the Phillies at plus money. I think these teams should be at minus 110 on both sides. So, and I would be saying the same thing with the Twins. If I was getting the Twins at plus 105, I would probably be taking the Twins if I'm being dead honest.
I agree with
I gotta say I kind of agree with that. It looks like Taj Bradley is starting to trend downwards, and remember, we see this as starting pitchers a lot. They tail off towards the end of the season. He hasn't been quite as sharp recently. The Phillies bats have been terrible, but I mean, are we going to sit here and be like Minnesota has the huge bat hitting advantage? I'd still take the Phillies lineup over the Twins lineup. I don't care what they've done recently. The Twins lineup hasn't been good at all. The Phillies also have the significantly better bullpen and the more rested bullpen. This is a neutral field. Yeah, you shouldn't be able to get the Phillies at play. I think I'm going to do it.
The Phillies have the worst bullpen in baseball since the All-Star break.
Do you think it's the worst bullpen in baseball?
No, I'm just saying we've played that bad. We've actually pitched that bad since the All-Star break. But obviously, as long as you have Duran, Bolin, and Kirkring available, you're usually fine. Actually, we just called up. We called up McFarland. He gave up a run in his last start, but the stuff's electric. He was throwing triple digits and it looked good.
Spoon, do you want to come in and talk some sense into Jacob? He sounds like he's going through it.
He does sound like he's going through it. It's the Field of Dreams game tomorrow. Bryce Harper plays for his team. He knows Bryce Harper is going to go out there, hit a nuke.
Thank you.
This park does play pretty neutral. 335 down each side, 380 to the power alleys, 400 straight away. We've only seen a couple games here. I think the totals were like 6 and 14 for the runs scored. So don't have a ton of data on this field, but it is going to be a road environment for both of these pitchers. Taj Bradley has pitched significantly worse on the road, sporting like ERA almost 1.5 points higher. I'd like the Phillies here. This is plus money on the much better team. This will be a fun game to watch. I'll turn this one on with the kid. Either way, I don't think you're going to have a huge edge on this money line, but I just don't really trust Taj Bradley. Aaron Nola, maybe he's not getting run support. Maybe Phillies bullpen hasn't been great, but all the pieces are there for them tomorrow. I don't see why they can't win this game. It means more to them.
Someone in the comments said these guys have not watched the Phillies play baseball this year. My man, how many Twins games have you watched?
Every single Phillies game this year, and it's been brutal. The second half of the season.
Bryce Harper is my favorite player by a mile. Like, I watch almost every.
Bryce Harper, I love Bryce Harper. That dude's.
Can you get on Bryce Harper nuke tomorrow?
I'm probably will. The only thing I'm mad about is that there's not very many seats. Seats in this game are like $1,800.
Oh, it's a tiny yeah. There's not a lot of seats.
I know that's what sucks. Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. It's on Netflix. Like the whole run.
I wanted to go. I love going to Netflix.
I feel like the people. Well, listen. I feel like the people who want to watch this game are a lot of the older generation. They're like, oh, cool. This game's being played in like a cornfield, field of dreams. Like my grandpa didn't even watch the home run derby, the All-Star game, because he didn't have Netflix and couldn't get the damn game.
Rangers, Angels, Spoon, DeGrom against Urania. Is it crazy to say that the Angels have the starting pitching advantage here? I mean, obviously, I say that tongue-in-cheek, but Urania's been awesome, and DeGrom hasn't been quite as sharp this year.
Urania has been awesome, but this Angels offense has been pretty subpar for a majority of this season. I just like an under in this game. I know DeGrom's kind of struggled here, and he's pitched better at home for the most part, but it's the Angels offense. You're telling me Jacob DeGrom can't go out there, go 6 innings pitched, give me 2 earned runs at the max versus the Angels tomorrow? I think Urania is going to do that to Texas on the other side. The bullpen situation is going to be what figures it out. Cross my fingers that the Angels don't blow it, but I mean, I think this 8 should be a 7.5. These are two studs out there on the mound. Maybe Urania's a little before his time, maybe DeGrom's a little after his time, but these are bad offenses at this point in the season. I like this under. I looked at the first 3 under. I haven't moved on anything on this game, but I'd like to attack it.
I just lost on the Twins team. The Angels team total under because the Rangers suck. So, Jacob, where are you at?
Yeah, coming into this game, I agree. You have the starting pitching advantage. DeGrom on the road, 4.87 ERA. And I think one notable thing is they're not letting him pitch past 5 innings. When was the last time DeGrom pitched more than 5 innings in a baseball game? And then the Rangers bullpen, we just watched them tonight. They suck. You know, they blew the game. I was really hoping.
They brought in a dude who just like walked, hit, and it's like, why did they even bring this guy in? All right, go on.
I was really hoping that the Rangers would win this game and use their bullpen because I wanted to bet the Angels tomorrow. Like, I don't think you should be able to even get you can get a plus 1.5 for the home team at minus 117 or a plus 147 on the money line. Urania's been the better starting pitcher at home, especially. This guy's pitched absolutely amazing. He has one of the best change-ups in all of baseball. Yeah, at home this season, he has a 2.49 ERA. I know the Angels' bats are really tough, so I kind of want to take the under. But now the Angels are using their bullpen arms, and their bullpen after trading away guys is already thin. Yeah, it would still only be the Angels for me. I like the Texas first 5 team total under 2.5. You can get it at minus 140. Urania, just back Urania to go out there and give up basically less than 3 earned runs through 2 innings. We watched the Angels pitcher do it today. So, and I don't even know his name. So, or Clausen or whatever, he just did it. So I think Urania can do it too.
No, Dusty Bottoms, don't you dare try to come in this comments pitching Angels team total under again. And you know what he prefaced it with? He prefaced it with, Kyle, don't be fussy. Fussy?
Yo.
No, absolutely fucking not. Toast, Urania against DeGrom. Where you at?
Dusty Bob. I thought he was going to be mad at you that you took the bet, and that's why he lost.
He goes, Kyle, don't be fussy.
Yo, I use that with my daughter turned 1 today. That's something that I would say to her. Let's not be fussy today, honey. I like the Angels as well. So I know that their bullpen, because they had some usage tonight, was going to be a question, but I'm not too worried about it. They only used Wyman and Watson so far. So I guess if they were to use Joyce in the bottom of the 9th, maybe he'd be at 2 of the last 3 days, but they were able to save all their major arms. So I'm not too worried about the Angels bullpen. Matter of fact, I'm actually more worried about the Rangers bullpen because you're going to have Peyton Gray, who's number 2 on 2 of the last 3. You're going to have Robbie A, who's like one of their up and coming arms on 2 of the last 3 as well. And that's already a bullpen that I don't really trust. I don't feel like the Rangers have any advantage in this game besides offensively, and that's a very weak advantage. I think that people are really underestimating how well Urania has pitched so far this season. He's coming off his 2nd worst start of the year on the road in Miami. His previous 3 starts before that at home against Milwaukee, Houston, and St. Louis. Only one of those teams are terrible. He pitched 6 innings in all of them and only gave up 2 runs in 18 innings. I really like the Angels tomorrow.
Man.
I haven't bet it though.
Can I add one thing too? The Angels have DeGrom's number too. 81 plate appearances in this lineup against them. They're batting .319 off DeGrom. DeGrom earlier this season saw the Angels. So I think it's going to be the 3rd or 4th time they've seen DeGrom this season. They tattooed DeGrom 5 innings, 2 earned, but the time before that was 3 innings
in Los Angeles. Or in
Los Angeles. They absolutely tattooed him.
I kind of like the Rangers, but let's move on. Everyone's calling me fussy in the comments right now. Brewers Dodgers. Spoon, would you consider the Milwaukee Brewers a broken team right now, or more of a broken city, or a broken fan base, maybe, or D, all of the above?
Yeah, I was looking for D, all of the above there. I'd like to hit phone a friend, ask Trevor how he's doing, but
He won't pick
I'm
up.
sure he doesn't
He ain't
have cell
picking
phone reception.
He ain't picking
Won't
up.
be able to answer it. I don't know. This is a tough time. Brewers going through it. Now they go to see the Dodgers, who all of a sudden maybe they woke up. Worst time to see him. Just the Undertaker meme sitting up. Drohan coming out there, starting to struggle a little bit. Seems like a really affordable price to take the LA Dodgers tomorrow. I'm pretty close to the full game money line. Toast. Why can't we bet the Dodgers tomorrow?
Waiting for their sim to check the bullpen.
The Dodgers didn't use anybody tonight.
Okay, I didn't think that they did.
Why can we get this price then?
They already moved 10 cents in favor of the Dodgers.
I was going to say, I agree. There's no reason to not back the Dodgers for me personally.
Well, have you bet it?
No, I haven't. I haven't bet anything. It was my daughter's first birthday today. I was a little bit preoccupied this evening, but I will be making some bets in the next 45 minutes. I know. Trust me. Don't even get me started with my wife and the cake and all the bullshit. I don't want to talk about that. This is about baseball. I think that people. I don't know if it's like a true thing or not, but I think that like people actually think that Roki Sasaki isn't good, and I don't really understand. I don't really understand that. I know that he's definitely had some ups and downs, and he's not Yamamoto or anything like that. But I mean, he's been really, really good. And yeah, he did have he had a bad start against the Padres, who had just seen him 5 days before that. And this Padres offense, obviously, and I'm not just saying that because they just swept the Milwaukee Brewers. I think it was like 16 runs to 4 or 5 or something like that. I don't know, but it was a lot to a little. It was like a football score. I'm not really worried about this Dodgers offense, and I've said that multiple times now that, yes, that they go through slumps, but I feel, and I make the joke, like, I don't even know if they know that they're losing games because it's just kind of going through the motions for them. Like, yes, they've started to wake up a little bit, but I mean, are we really worried about our drone strike, as TV Jones would like to call it? I mean, he's faced Minnesota, the Angels, Colorado, Miami, Pittsburgh, St. Louis, and Cincinnati his last 7 starts. Can any of those teams hit off at all? No. I mean, again, I understand that the Dodgers have struggled a little bit, but this number should be 160 at minimum with the Dodgers at a full rested bullpen behind them, especially at home, and then them not having to travel. I don't understand this number at all. I agree with you guys.
Dude,
Jacob, any retort?
No, I can't believe. Obviously, the line's moved 10 cents, but I think it's probably, like Toast said, probably going to be like 160. Roki Sasaki is gross. Since the All-Star break, he has a 0.9 ERA, over 24.2 innings, allowing 3 total runs, only 2 of them earned. He's throwing like triple, all of a sudden comes out of the All-Star break, he's throwing triple digits, and I hadn't bet anything. Obviously, the line deserves to move 10 cents because the Dodgers threw out some rag arms against Kansas City. They let Eric Lauer, I think they knew they were facing the Brewers tomorrow. Eric Lauer threw like 110 pitches. They let him go as far as he could, and then they used a bunch of rag arms, and they still beat the Royals. So they have all of their guys available. Vesia, Tanner Scott, they're all good to go. Drone strike, like Trevor says, is rolls out of bed and gives you 3 earned. And recently, it's even worse. He gave up 6 earned, 2, 5, 3, 3, 3. So it's literally roll out of bed, give you 3. You have the starting pitching advantage. You have the bullpen advantage because the Brewers went to extras today, blew it against the Padres. They used McGill. I think McGill's on back-to-back days. If I don't have the sheets in front of me. They used Ashby today. So we have the more rested bullpen. We got the better lineup. We got the better starting pitcher. The Dodgers didn't have to travel. They're staying home. Brewers are traveling. I don't get it.
Swept the board on Dodgers and Cubs. There's nothing.
What will really suck, dude, if the Dodgers lose tomorrow, Trevor's gonna
No,
rip
I
us.
didn't like the Cubs. Did I? No, I didn't like the Cubs.
All right.
No, you
So
like the
Jacob-
first 5 under.
Jacob
You like the
Post
first
put
5
that
under.
up.
I bet the Dodgers. It's already moved considerably. I got minus 138, but I was honestly thinking of. I only put a unit on. I was actually thinking of putting a few more dollars on just Dodgers first 5 run line too, because Sasaki looks like the truth right now.
Sorry to interrupt
I'd
you,
rather
but
play
there's,
the
like,
Saints over.
there's multiple people in the comments talking about Freddie Freeman. If Freddie Freeman is hurt, he's going to miss a couple games, but I wouldn't because Freddie Freeman fell into the dugout today, that he's going to miss some games. Freddie Freeman doesn't miss baseball games, guys. It's 147, 147, 161, 159, 159. This guy doesn't miss baseball games. So unless he's actually hurt, Freddie Freeman probably plays.
They also pinch hit for him in like the 9th inning or something. Maybe they thought they were playing.
It was his last at bat. Yeah.
Let's give him the day. Let's give him some extra rest.
It killed my prize picks, but it's all good.
All right. I'm going to talk some college football. You gentlemen. Jacob, you send me a text. Let me know when you're available because Jones is out for like 3 or 4 days.
I'm good for the next few days. I'm not working, not traveling, so
cool.
I'm good.
All right, guys. Talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Play some football.
Go Pod.
Yo, man.
Sauce, how we been? How was Bet Bash?
Great time, man. You know, because gambling Twitter is such a crazy place that, like, I really don't know what to expect. It was the complete opposite of what gambling Twitter's like. Everyone was super friendly. A bunch of people introduced themselves to me and like, oh, I'm this account. And I was like, oh shit. Like, it was cool meeting everybody. I truly had a lot of fun, and we'll be going back next year. Couple topics before we get into UMass Rutgers. There's some things we got to touch base on. Nobody likes our Michigan State opinion. I'm on Michigan State minus 10.5. I think you agreed, right? No, everyone hates it. Everyone saying Toledo's live there with all their FCS transfers. Are you worried about any of that?
I'd like to know. Well, yeah, I'd like to know what sort of FCS knowledge they have. I mean, the thing to think about is this. Everybody likes the coaching hire Mike Jacobs, and there's going to be a lot of FCS flavor from Mercer, but the Mercer stout defense was 2024. That was an elite not all time, but just an elite top tier FCS defense. That was 2024's Mercer bunch. Last year, I mean, these guys lost against FCS non-scholarship participant Presbyterian. They struggled with Wofford. Yeah, they beat up on the Citadel and Furman and VMI, who were way, way, way down. But these guys gave it up against some of the better offenses in a SoCon, in a Southern Conference that was very, very poor. I think people like Toledo because of the flashy hire that got a lot of media hype early, and Toledo has done it before. They've gone to Notre Dame and given close games. They went to Mississippi State and won on the road. The logo on the helmet has done it before, but not these guys. The talent disparity is going to be staggering here, and I just firmly believe Toledo is really up against it. You're asking all these low-level FCS guys and some fringe G6 guys to go into a Big Ten environment and try to keep this game close. I'm not thinking that that's anywhere that's going to be anything. Michigan State needs an ass whooping, and they need to put it on it for the fans, for just the feel good for Fitzgerald. I think that they will be just fine. I expect them to win by 14 to 17 points late.
I think they win by even more than that. Couldn't agree more. I also think people don't realize how injured the Michigan State defense was last year. I like that quarterback they got there. I agree. But I just noticed a lot of sharp college football heads. They're all saying Toledo's live. And I was like, I better touch.
I don't think so. I don't see it.
We both took Michigan State together. But since we talked about, that was like over a month ago when we talked about that game. Since we talked about it, I'm hearing a lot of people taking Toledo. I'm saying strong. Michigan State in a blowout. And the other one, now this one, everybody under the sun is talking about this game. In fact, with all the guest appearances you do, I'm sure you're probably blue in the face from talking about it. What the hell? Who is betting Oklahoma State up? What is going on? I think Tulsa might win. What is going on with that one?
I'll be honest, I talked about this last night, and I think Tulsa is one of 9 teams that legitimately have a chance to win the conference. I bet over the win total of 5.5. When I look at the composite roster top to bottom and what Trey Lamb brought in, and I look at the development of quarterback Baylor Hayes and Traquan Jones coming in at running back and the receivers that they reloaded with and the stout defensive unit that Tulsa has, they've got massive dudes along the defensive line. They are going to be a problem in conference play. Everybody loves the hysteria surrounding Oklahoma State and North Texas and Drew Mestemaker. But you know what? The guy has never faced a Power 4 opponent up to this point. You look at some of the flashy passing stats, and he put up good numbers, but they feasted against Rice, Charlotte, UAB, UTSA. They had played some horrific secondaries. But if you look at the first 4 games of the season after Lamar, when they played Western Michigan and Washington State, they blew Washington State out. But some of the South Alabama, he struggled. He downright struggled. He missed open receivers. He only completed 14 passes against South Alabama. I just think that people are buying into this, that Eric Morris is going to roll in the North Texas bunch and the offense is just going to score 50 points a game against everybody. But I absolutely do not see it this way. I think Oklahoma State's going to be much, much better offensively than what they were, but they're going to week in and week out see dynamic looks. They're going to see Power 4 athletes. They're going to have to go to some hostile environments. I think it is really a struggle. I think the win total at 5.5 was low. But there's a reason it's held firm at 6.5, and people are betting that the alt. They're betting them to win the conference like they know the final results, and I think it's just absolutely a fool's errand to think this team is going to flip the script and win the conference. I think they struggle to make a bowl game. I think they ultimately will, but I think it's 6-6 or 7-5 at the absolute ceiling for Oklahoma State.
I agree, and not so much on the full season stuff. We'll see how it pans out, and we have a bunch of games to talk to, so we don't need to go into this one too deep. But in addition to everything you just said about Oklahoma State, we can poke holes in that defense. The North Texas defense was a little bit underwhelming with Skylar Cassidy last year, but on the other side, I kind of like what Trey Lamb's got going on. I think Tulsa's defense is going to surprise some people. I think we could have a whole conversation about, you mentioned it, that Tulsa's a little bit better than people think, but we've got some topics. I didn't get the Bowling Green graphics ready, so we'll have to save Bowling Green for Friday. But we have 6 topics. First one, I'm in Jersey, so we're talking Rutgers, and a couple people in my group chat are Rutgers guys. So we got UMass Rutgers here, so we're going to kind of preview both teams. UMass offense was the worst thing ever invented last year. You don't need me to tell you that. Duck can get into it. I'm not sure. Pop Watson has a high ceiling, I suppose. Very talented athlete at quarterback. He's 5'10", behind an offensive line that has some questions. So as far as the UMass offense, I mean, it can't possibly be worse. I'm not really sure what the ceiling is there. The UMass defense, Harris Simiak is a defensive coach. They were so injured last year. They want to run a 4-2-5 there at UMass, and towards the end of the season, they were so injured that they were running a lot of 4-4 because they literally didn't have healthy defensive backs. That's how injured UMass defense was last year. So year 2 with a defensive coach, I actually think that that edge rusher Nobles, he's supposed to be pretty good. He was hurt last year. The top 2 linebackers are solid. I think UMass defense, if you're looking for an optimistic spin on the UMass team, I don't think it's crazy to say UMass defense takes a big step forward. It's not going to be a great defense, but I think that's what you're looking at if you're trying to be optimistic about UMass. I'm not sure about the offense. I like this Rutgers team a lot. I think it's good. I think it's real good. So what are your thoughts on UMass? And then we'll get into Rutgers.
I think UMass will be a lot better than expected this year. The win total is low at 2.5, and I actually think they can go over it. They do play 2 FCS teams early in Sacred Heart and Stonehill, but I think they can beat Sacramento State. I think they can beat Buffalo. UConn is not unwinnable. Ball State is not unwinnable. I think there's a lot of opportunities for UMass to notch with wins this year. The defense was so up against it, and they do have a long way to go. They don't create a lot of pressure. They don't get a lot of havoc. They were tougher, a little bit tougher against the pass later on in the year, but the problem is it's the MAC. Everybody plays in cold weather, and they run the football, so maybe the stats were a little bit aided by the style of play of their opponents. I don't know. I think Nobles can be a pretty decent player along the defensive line. Tim Passmore is a decent player. Aubrey Melvin. They've got some decent talent that they were able to portal in. The linebackers are going to be better than they were last year. Not exquisite, but Tyler Martin, Josiah Ishe, Kari Bendolph, they've got some decent talent at linebacker, a little bit elevated from what they had before. And you're right, the secondary was in such disarray. They were having offensive players play on the scout team. They had coaches that were suiting up in pads playing in scout team in the last 3 weeks of the season. It was brutal. With that said, I don't think the defense is going to show very well here. I think the talent disparity between this team and Rutgers, even a Rutgers team that I'm not in love with, but the talent disparity.
Whoa, no need. This Rutgers team's. All right, we'll get into Rutgers. I'll let you go. We'll get into Rutgers. But go ahead.
I don't know. So I will say this. Last year's defense for Greg Schiano was so anti-Schiano. The lack of toughness, the lack of physicality. They couldn't stop the run. They couldn't get off the field on third down. They were horrible in the red zone. The portal churn was okay. They're getting the defensive coordinator who comes in from the University of South Dakota, and I think he could tinker with it and do some good things. I wonder how it's going to look immediately at the beginning of the season and if it's really going to be a formidable group, and it might actually take a year. I think the portal churn was decent. Getting a guy like Malachi Davis was a good grab in the portal. Rondo Porter, Jaden Burnett is a decent player coming over, actually from Tulsa. I need to see a little more from Lonergan. I don't know if I love what Lonergan brings to the table. We'll see if they connect on the deep shots. They've got some tall receivers and some guys that can stretch the field, but when they get into it against Big Ten competition and you're lining up against USC, Indiana, Michigan, Nebraska, Penn State, I just need to see Rutgers be able to do it. I think this is probably a team that's a little bit more competitive against the number. I still question if Rutgers is able to make a bowl game this season.
No, this offense has trended up in all 3 years under Shiraka, and he's back. Antoine Raymond's a superstar at running back. KJ Duff is a superstar. The offensive line's in pretty good shape. The right side of the offensive line is great. It's not just good. It's a great right side of the offensive line. Maybe some questions on the left side. And the way that this offense has gotten better all 3 years, I think this offense is going to be fine. I'm not even really worried about Kaliak Manis. I don't think they've really named a starting quarterback. I don't care if it's Lonergan or the other guy because both of them look good. And I think as long as Rutgers gets average quarterback play, that this offense is going to be every bit as what it was last year, which was Rutgers offense was pretty good last year. Surprised some people. I think Rutgers is going to be good offensively. On the defensive side of the ball, you mentioned it. I mean, just look at the graphics. You can see the dark color. It was bad. It was the worst Rutgers defense ever. Some things to keep in mind about this Rutgers defense. So now 2 years in a row, not just last year, 2 years in a row, Rutgers has lost arguably their most important defensive player before the season started. Last year, it was defensive tackle Doug Blue Eli, right in fall camp, out for the year. He's back and healthy. Now, Rutgers was so bad at stopping the run, and it was really the foundation of every problem they had. They could not, they were just getting blown off the ball. It's because this guy was hurt. He's back. He's healthy. You kind of brushed over these two guys, man. I'm reading a lot of positive things about these edge rushers here for Rutgers. I think this defensive line might be all right. In comparison to last year, I mean, miles ahead of where they were last year.
Should be better than last year.
And Moses Walker, another guy who missed most of last season at linebacker. He is now back and healthy. Abram Wright is a guy that this guy that brought in Ty Morris from Rice. I think their front seven is solid. And I think Rutgers' run defense was so bad and injured last year that it's the foundation of the defense. Nothing else can function if the opposing offensive line is getting 5 yards of push every snap. So I just think that foundation is just this defense is going to look a hell of a lot better. Yes, there's some questions in the secondary. Mikey Munn from South Dakota, they need him to be all conference.
He will be good. He's a very good player from the FCS level that will translate okay here.
Yeah, they need him to be good. So if you want to poke holes in Rutgers secondary, I'm not going to really push back on it. I think this Rutgers team is strong. And my bad, I kind of cut you off in the middle of your UMass because you took a shot at Rutgers. What are your thoughts? I mentioned in the beginning, Pop Watson. I mean, he's very talented. 5'10", 5'11". Do you really see a high ceiling for him? I mean, we saw glimpses of it. This kid can play. I just don't know with that offensive line. He does have a weapon or two. What are your thoughts on the UMass offense?
I think it'll be better. I think when you saw the three-man rotation at quarterback last season for UMass, they were so undefined at what they wanted to be. They started the season relatively balanced on offense. They were trying to throw the ball 20, 25 times a game. They got down to playing games where they were throwing the ball 14 times a game. They threw it 51 times, I think it was, against Buffalo. They had no idea what they wanted to do offensively, and they really didn't have playmakers. I think we'll see a little bit more consistency from the UMass group this year, and I think it starts and ends with Pop Watson. I don't think he's an all-MAC type of quarterback, but he is way better than what they had before. And I think his dual threat capabilities are going to allow that offense to do some things that to just create more favorable down and distance. They were so up against it last year, 3rd and long, 2nd and 14. The havoc numbers were bad, and they made. I mean, they played hard, they tried, but they were just so up against it and could never put a game together for 4 quarters. I do think that it'll be a little bit more consistent, and it'll actually allow UMass to win some football games this year. I don't think they're going to make a bowl game, but 2.5 on the win total I would go over. In this game specifically, though, what I could see from Schiano all off season and all fall camp is just riding this offensive line's ass. They couldn't run the football as well as they were when Kyle Monangai was there and the offensive run game was really cranking. And I think Rutgers will run the ball very well here. I like the 1-2 punch at running back with Raymond and Xavier Stern. I think that getting guys like KJ Duff and Ben Black involved into the passing game early is something they'll absolutely do here. The defensive line, I mean, you kind of really touched on it well, but they've got one mission: get to the quarterback. Maybe they're a little over aggressive here. Maybe they send some blitz packages and it allows Pop Watson to wiggle out and maybe create a few explosive plays here. I think points are coming. I think UMass, when you look at these guys that gave up 40 points or more 5 times just in MAC play, I don't think they can get stops. I think Rutgers can put up 42, 45, 51, and I think UMass will end up punching in a touchdown or two. So 54.5, I'd go high side.
So I'm on board with the over. I'll put up over for you. So I think if there was no extenuating circumstances here, I would say Rutgers scores 50 points, and maybe that happens. One wrench in this. What am I about to say? Harasimiak is a Schiano Rutgers DC. Harasimiak, before he got the UMass head coaching job, was Schiano's DC at Rutgers.
I think he takes it easy on him.
Maybe he takes it easy on him, or maybe like if there's somebody that might have the inside track on how to know what annoys Schiano and what could throw a wrench into what Rutgers is trying to do. I just think that added element makes me hesitant to lay the big number. So if I was to bet this game, I probably would take the huge number, whether he takes it easy on him, whether Harasimiak's just got something on his sleeve for his old head coach. I'll put UMass up because of that added element.
Yeah, and that's an interesting angle because Rutgers is a great bully. When they play these lower level MAC teams and when they play FCS teams, I mean, they really do everything they possibly can. I remember a couple of years back when Rutgers was playing Howard, and they were actively calling timeouts late in order to punch in a late score. They scored a touchdown with no time left, didn't even kick the extra point just to cover the number. And Schiano does that sort of stuff. Maybe not here, though. That's an interesting dynamic with the coaching tree sort of influence. I still don't think that the UMass defense is going to get a lot of stops here, and I would expect Rutgers to score a boatload of points. It may not get to an ugly level like 69-10, but I think it could be 48-10.
Yeah, I agree that on paper, Rutgers should beat the hell out of them and score a lot of points. I'm with you there. Georgia, Arkansas. So, okay, I'm going to pass you the rock, but I have 2 thoughts about Georgia, and I'm sure this has been talked about a lot. So I'm not the first person to come out with this point. Georgia, obviously, great team last year. A lot of hype coming into the season this year with all the returning production and all the talent they've got. Here is the 2 main concerns. What were the 2 problems for Georgia last year? There was one major problem on offense, one major problem on defense. On offense, lack of explosive plays, right? Not a ton of explosives from Georgia. In fact, they were one of the worst in the country in yards per successful play, meaning there wasn't a ton of explosive plays from Georgia, not like we've seen in years past. So lack of explosive plays on offense, lack of a pass rush, which is very un-Georgia-like as well. They only had 20 sacks all year. So those are the 2 problems. Georgia was great last year, but their 2 biggest problems: lack of explosive plays, lack of a pass rush. Why am I bringing that up? Well, as Doug's about to take us through, this team is loaded. They're loaded everywhere. But what did they kind of not address? Like, are those problems fixed? Because Zachariah Branch is gone, who's one of their more dynamic playmakers on offense. Again, they're loaded. The offensive line, great. They got maybe one of the best interior offensive lines in the country. Well, there's a freshman starting there, but they're great. Running backs, great. Stockton at quarterback. But they lose Zachariah Branch. Did they fix their explosive play problem? Because the biggest question mark on the offense is the wide receiver position. And then on the defensive side of the ball, there's the injury concerns is Gabe Harris healthy? He was dealing with a foot injury last year. He's limited in camp. The guy they brought in from Auburn, torn ACL, out for the year. So it seems like Georgia's loaded, but the two problems they had last year, I feel like we can just lead by saying, are those the same problems they have this year? Do you follow? Are you with any of that?
I could see that. I think the pass game is going to be really tight end reliant. I think they have the best tight end room in the entire country. Lawson Lucky goes 6'4", 240 and is a matchup nightmare. Elias Williams, 6'7", 255. Caden Prothrow is another guy they can throw in there. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Georgia operate out of 12 personnel. They're going to be able to run the football. Nate Frazier, Dante Drawell is really a good 1-2 punch. And I think we do see Gunnar Stockton take another step. He was very good last year in protecting the football. I think he threw only 5 interceptions and completed 70% of his passes. So I think we'll see that. I do like Isaiah Canyon coming over from Georgia Tech, and London Humphreys is another guy that I think can take a step up. But, they as far as the game changing, take the lid off of it, throw it downfield, they probably don't have some of the talent that they had in the receiver room in the past. I do think the defensive line is nasty. Last year, Georgia's defensive front was such an antithesis of what we would see from a Kirby Smart defense. They used to put the fear of God in all their opponents with their defensive line, and they didn't do any of that last year. But I do think Elijah Griffin, Xavier McLeod, Jordan Hall, I think these guys are really going to ratchet it up, and that I expect Georgia's defensive front seven to be very strong this year. Maybe not the best in the. I think Texas probably has a unit that would rival theirs and maybe
Oregon.
Be superior to theirs.
Oregon?
No, I'm saying in the conference. Just
in the conference. Go, yes, I.
Yeah, but I think the sack and havoc numbers. I don't think that we'll see that sort of laissez-faire performance on the defensive front 2 years in a row. I would expect Georgia to have 35, 38 sacks and approach 100 tackles for loss. I will say this. I don't love a lot of the top to bottom roster composite that Arkansas has. I'm not necessarily thinking that they have a lot of weapons that they'll be able to take advantage of. I'm going to say this, though, that this situation is bad for Arkansas coming off a road trip against Utah. Maybe they get a little physically beat up. Georgia's not really going to have been tested at this point. I know, and I'll talk about the opener against Tennessee State, who's a weak FCS level HBCU team. Kirby Smart never, ever covers these large numbers. They never, ever cover it. You could go back to Charlotte, Marshall, year before that against the FCS team. I think it was Tennessee Chattanooga or Tennessee Tech. They never cover these. I project this to be a spread of 67.5, and I think Georgia can just oopsie their way to covering. I'm going to lay it with Georgia if it gets under 45 in the opener against Tennessee State, who may not get a first down and may not cross midfield. But with that said, Georgia's not going to be tested in that game or against Western Kentucky for that matter. Georgia won't have to throw a pass in their second game against Western Kentucky. They can just hand the ball off, get 8 yards a carry, and score on every possession. And if you look at Georgia, they have not covered a number this big on the road in 4 years. And this really is their first real test of the season. For all the goofy stuff that Silverfield did do at Memphis, he did get his group ready to play up against top-tier competition. They went to Florida State and won. They beat Arkansas last year outright as touchdown underdogs. They defeated South Florida, who was ranked. Defeated Tulane in 2024 as 14-point underdogs. They went to Missouri and competed very well. Regularly, they played their best football against their best competition. And that goes back even further to when SMU was the cream of the crop in that conference. And Memphis always played them tough. So while there's a significant talent disparity here, it's outrageous. Georgia could and should win this game by whatever they want. But they just don't. If you look at Georgia's road openers, 2025, they needed overtime to defeat Tennessee. They were absolutely on the ropes last year in the road opener against Tennessee. 2024 against Kentucky, laying 22.5. They won the game 13-12. 2023, they were laying 14.5 against Auburn. They won the game by a touchdown. There's not a good case to be made for Arkansas here, and I'm not supporting a play on the Razorbacks. They're going to be way down. They're not going to be competitive in SEC league play, but Georgia is not ready in the road openers, and so I'm not laying it. There's no way I could lay it right now. And could this be 48-14? Yes, it could be, and it probably will be. But 3 years in a row now, they haven't been ready.
Okay, so you're right. And by the way, you mentioned Kirby Smart not covering the big numbers. Yeah, I was on Charlotte last year. I was on many of the teams playing that exact angle. I don't think an SEC game against Arkansas necessarily fits that description. I just don't know.
No. That's laying that
Huge
that
numbers.
that description is laying 35 plus
For their
That's not
first
this
two
case.
games. You were talking about their
For the
first two games. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So I don't know how. So first of all, Arkansas's defense was terrible last year. As I'm sure you know, they had an explosive offense and a terrible defense. The entire secondary is new. It's all new. Look at gray means not here last year. It's all new for
The whole
Arkansas.
team is new. Whole defense is new.
Yeah.
Everybody transferred out.
Yeah. So I don't understand how Arkansas's defense is supposed to be. Look, on the offensive side of the ball, Silverfield, as I showed a graphic before, his Memphis offenses were always talented. I like A.J. Hill. I was big on him when they recruited him at Memphis. He was supposed to be Memphis' next guy. Like, they recruited him, high 4-star recruit quarterback at Memphis. He came over with Silverfield. A.J. Hill might be awesome. And honestly, the other quarterback they got, Jackson, is good too. So they've got 2 4-stars at quarterback. They've got talent. They've got running backs too. So I also think if we're trying to put a positive spin on Arkansas, what were their problems last year? Well, turnovers. Well, you bring in Ryan Silverfield. Memphis has always protected the football under him. So you bring in a coach that prioritizes protecting the football. I'm reading articles about all ball security drills during camp. So you might have brought in the right coach to fix that problem, whether or not it's a great hire overall. You got to ask someone smarter than me. But you might have brought in the right coach to fix your turnover problem. You've got talent at quarterback. You've got a solid running back room. So I think the foundation is there for Arkansas to not be terrible. I just don't know if they've got the horses on defense. I kind of think Georgia might roll them here. But the only reason, guys, by the way, the reason I have Georgia versus Arkansas up, it's a game of the year and the line is open. In reality, we're just previewing both teams. It wasn't like we need to talk about this game. It was just a perfect way to preview both teams, a perfect format for it. So if this was under 14, I would 13 and a half, I think I'd hit Georgia. But I get it. They haven't covered these road openers.
Yeah, 13 and a half, I think, is a different conversation. And, we'll see how it looks. We'll see if Arkansas goes to Utah and competes well. Maybe they win that game. Maybe it's a squeaker. I project that they're going to be catching about 9.5. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe we get a 13 and a half.
We'll see. We'll see indeed. Okay, so this is just, I don't have any Auburn graphics. We already talked about Auburn. I do have some Florida stuff. I feel like it's just bad for your health to buy into any Florida Gator hype before the season. I just feel like it never ends well. But this is a new era, right? I know it's no more Billy Napier. It's the John Sumrall era. I kind of like the team they've got here. It's Florida. They've got talent. Dallas Wilson is a superstar. We didn't really get to even see how good he was last year. He showed flashes of it. Only played in 4 games. One of the highest rated wide receiver recruits last year. Only played in 4 games. And in those 4 games, we saw him make some superstar highlights. Dallas Wilson is probably an NFL caliber superstar right here. And healthy going into the season, you could see some electric stuff from him. The defense has underperformed recently, but I love Florida's front 7 here. I mean, the edge rushers. Have you checked out these edge rushers they got? They might be very good here. LJ McCray was hurt last year. Jaden Woods. James was limited in the spring, but they've got superstar edge rushers. I know the talk with Florida is about, damn it, what's that defensive tackle's name? They lost their Banks.
Obadagio?
No. Oh, no. He's there. He's there now. I'm talking about Caleb Banks from last year. The talk is like, oh, they lost Caleb Banks. Caleb Banks was hurt and barely played last year. So Caleb Banks is a great defensive tackle for Florida. He only played in like 4 games. Every single week he was questionable. He barely even played. So I'm not really worried about the loss of Caleb Banks. He barely played. I like this front 7. I like their linebackers. Look, almost 800 career snaps, almost 1,000 career snaps, almost 600 career snaps. Got a ton of experience at linebacker. I like their edge rushers. I like their defensive front. I feel like it's dangerous to buy into any Florida Gators hype. Am I drinking the Kool-Aid here, or is there something to like here with Florida?
I think their linebacker room might be the best linebacker room in the conference. Miles Graham, Jaden Woods, Jaden Robinson, Aaron Childs or Chili's or whatever you say his last name is in. I think Florida might have the best buttoned-up linebacker group, or potentially could morph into one of the top units in the entire conference. I don't know if the D line is going to be as far along as maybe what other people do. So we'll see here. I think this is really a fascinating matchup. You know, these two head coaches squared off before. Tulane really ran away with it against South Florida in 2024. It was 45-10. It wasn't any sort of bad blood or anything. It was just a clean, old-fashioned butt whooping by Tulane. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen here. We know what Auburn's offense is going to look like. We were going to get Byron Brown. We're going to get the slow mesh, the RPO stuff, a lot of screen games, sideline to sideline, which is what Alex Golish likes to run, and then they'll take some deep shots off of that. We got a decent receiver room. You get Nimrod coming in. Keyshawn Singleton's a good receiver. Jeremiah Koger's decent. The running backs are okay. I like Bryce Ross Washington coming in from Baylor. Jeremiah Cobb, Nakai Davenport, who might be third string here, and he was a good player at USF. So there's definitely a lot of offensive talent for Auburn. You know, it's interesting. They bring the OC over, so there's a lot of continuity and familiarity. The only thing that's changing with the offense is the uniform. So I think they kind of fire on all cylinders right away. And I like the fact that Auburn gets tested early, or at least the presumability of a test. They neutral site against Baylor. They play a tough game early. Florida won't. They're 4 touchdown favorites against Florida Atlantic, and they'll be minus 52.5 against Campbell. It's not really a test. And then they go on the road here. Florida's interesting too. You know, you pluck Buster Faulkner away from Georgia Tech. Philo was there, so there's some continuity with those two. But yet the quarterback coach, Joe Craddock, was with Summerall at Tulane and Troy, so there's familiarity with the coaching staff there. Sauce, what do you think? I'm kind of a little bit concerned that Florida is not yet decided on Philo. He's kind of in a quarterback battle here.
Yeah, I don't really know much. Sorry, I flipped over to Virginia Tech. That's our next team. I don't really know what I think about the quarterback battle. I thought it was Philo, and then I read last night that it hasn't been decided yet. I don't know if they're just, you know, sometimes there's like coach speak where like it is decided. They're just trying to keep him motivated. I don't really know. So I don't have much to say about the quarterback battle here in Florida because I don't really know a whole lot about Philo. What do you think of if you take a look at Florida's offensive line, you think this pieced together offensive line has any chance of working in the SEC here? There's Stanford, Penn State.
TBD. I don't think it'll rear its ugly head here necessarily, as I don't think Auburn has the horses to really create a lot of problems, but I think it could create some problems for Florida in their next game and in subsequent games after that. You know, Ole Miss will bring it. Missouri is going to cause problems. Texas, Georgia, Oklahoma, that's murderer's row. I don't know that they win a game in that stretch, and that's the problem with Florida. In this game specifically, I think the receivers are very good. I mean, you mentioned Wilson, but Eric Singleton coming over is a good receiver. Vernal Brown is good. Micah Mays. I mean, they've got weapons everywhere. And Auburn had an elite defense last year. They lost 12 contributors to either the portal or the NFL, and they were major contributors. 10 times Auburn held their opponents to 24 points or less in the SEC against those offenses, really kept their team in games. And the only team to score in excess of 30 points was Diego Pavia-led Vanderbilt. And I just don't think the defense is going to be anything like that. I don't think that the defense is really equipped to get a ton of stops. We're going to get pace from both. We know what South Florida ran last year, and we know what Auburn's going to run with the pace system. I think Florida's going to run some tempo as well. Faulkner wanted to run tempo at Georgia Tech. That was thwarted a little bit in the season, depending, kind of how the game flow went with their opponents. But I think both these offenses have favorable matchups. I think Florida's going to spread Auburn's defense out. They're going to operate against a thin box. I think they'll be able to get explosive plays in the run game that'll allow them to take deep shots. I think both these offenses schematically have advantages over the defenses. And I could easily see a script here where maybe Florida, with their first road game, they get a little shocked early. Auburn goes up. Florida's chasing, keeping the pace up. I think both these teams are in the 30s, and I think the points are coming. So I would go over the total here. 54 is too low.
Yeah, I don't hate it over there. This game was open yesterday, but I'm having trouble finding it open right now. But yeah, I set it up to just preview Florida. But what he's talking about is the game of the year between Florida and Auburn. You're on Auburn in that opener against Baylor with me, right? -6.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
So yeah,
laying the number.
Yeah, I like Auburn in that game, and I wouldn't be surprised if Auburn's offense is good. With its, I don't think they're going to miss a beat. That offense was great with Byron Brown. I'm a big Byron Brown guy. It's the other side of the ball that I worry about for Auburn. So yeah, I won't be placing a bet on Florida Auburn, but just wanted to preview Florida.
Well, that win total is a little too low for Florida too. You had 5.5. I think it's 7.5.
Yeah. Is it 7.5? I thought it was 6.5 to be honest. But yeah, I typed it up real quick. It was just so. Virginia Tech. Man, if it wasn't for injuries, I would be so big on this Virginia Tech offense. Year one with Franklin, I wouldn't even care. I would be so big on this offense if it wasn't for injuries. But there's serious injury concerns already, and we haven't even. Oh, let me shrink this a little bit. Move it over here.
Just hardly through camp.
Yeah, there's already serious injury concerns. So they've got a deep running back room. Here's the problem. 3 of them are dealing with injuries. Hawkins missed all of spring camp. Their 4-star freshman was limited all through spring. And Overton, I don't have an injury designation on him, but he's dealing with something too. So their top 2 running backs, they have this loaded running back room. 3 of them are dealing with injuries, and it gets worse than that. This receiver they brought in from Louisiana Tech is also dealing with an injury. But what I'm looking at is their offensive line. Johnny Garrett and Logan Howland would be 2 of their better offensive linemen. You can make an argument that maybe 2 of their most important offensive linemen. Garrett is going to miss time. There's not even a timetable for his return. I don't even think it's set in stone that he plays football this year. So Garrett is going to be out for a while. And Howland missed all of spring. He's coming off an injury last year with Oklahoma. So if these 2 guys were healthy, Garrett and Howland, and these running backs were healthy, I would say Virginia Tech is going to have a badass rushing attack out of the gate this year. The injuries on the offensive line and the injuries at the running back position make it a little bit concerning. But what are your thoughts with James Franklin coming in year 1 in Blacksburg? Keeps Brent Pry on as DC. What are your thoughts on all that?
I think it was great. I think they won the coaching lottery. I think having James Franklin fall into their lap was incredible, plucking him off the streets, and he didn't have to stay unemployed long. And I think the unprecedented move here of hiring Brent Pry as the DC is really a good strategic move, and there's going to be no step backwards for the defensive unit, and there's really going to be very little friction as far as the coaching change overall. You know, honestly, I don't love the quarterback room. I don't love Grunkmeyer, but that's kind of the insight as to what type of offense they're going to run, and it's going to look a lot like what Penn State ran anyway. I think we're going to get a ton of 12 personnel. We're going to get 1 running back, 2 tight ends. They're going to run the football a ton. They're going to run play action off of it. I think the ground game could actually be good. I know they're going to be very good in the opener against VMI, which we can touch on later, but you know, the injuries are a concern, and that's part of it. I think the running back room is very good with Hawkins and Jeff Overton and Bill Davis. Bill Davis is projected to potentially be 3rd string, and he was really good in the Sun Belt. I think that's a good luxury to have when you have all the weapons. I think the receiver room really doesn't look too bad. Quayshawn Brown, Aiden Green, Tyseer Denmark. I mean, these are good players that are going to provide explosiveness that they just absolutely did not have at Virginia Tech last season. Luke Reynolds and Benji Gosnell might be the best 2 tight end combo in the ACC. The offensive line, you know, they're going to have to tinker with it now given the injuries, but yeah, we'll see how it shakes out. Again, they'll be fine in the opener and maybe the game after that. The defense was not good last year. They struggled to get off the field. They gave up 30 points per game. The secondary couldn't cover. And, you know, you look at the run stop unit and the yards per game given up, yards per carry. It was the worst here in 5 years. So you're getting a lot of Penn State infusion defensively, and I think that can help them. I think you look at Kamir Copeland and Elishad Fall. They're reliable pieces on the interior. Malachi Williams should have a good year. Asen Stevens is in. Cortez Harris is a good player. I mean, they got players on the defensive front. And I think the linebacker group could shake out okay. You got Keon Wiley, Chambers, Caleb Spencer. You know, you're going to have young guys that round out the 2 deep. We'll see how that goes. And if injuries are already an issue, sometimes that can be contagious. But I fully expect this to be turned around quickly. I'm not here to sit and say that I think Virginia Tech is going to vie to win the conference. I don't think that. But you look at what this unit was last season and all the terrible losses against Wake Forest and just non-competitive against Florida State and Miami and getting blown out by your rival Virginia at the end of the season. It was just terrible last year for Va Tech. And I think we'll see an immediate injection. And I think that beating some of these regional rivals are really important. Going to Maryland and winning would be huge. Beating Old Dominion, who you might just laugh at that, but Old Dominion's won 3 of the last 7 matchups and plays these guys really tough. And I think if you get off to a 3-0 start, maybe you go to Boston College and win. That'll just be such a huge slingshot for what the rest of the season could be. But you go up and down the schedule. Pittsburgh at California will be tough, but not unwinnable. Georgia Tech is down this year. I mean, this team could easily – you don't have to squint very hard to see 7-0 before going to Clemson and SMU. I think maybe they fade down the stretch, and the road games are tough. I mean, you look going to Cal, Clemson, SMU, and Miami in league play. Those are very tough road games, and how many of those games are they going to win? Are they going to win 1? Are they going to win 0? So there are some things with the schedule that make the road trips brutal. But I think the home games are winnable. I think they can go to Maryland and Boston College and win. I think 7 or 8 wins sounds about right here.
I could see that. Honestly, if it wasn't for those injuries to the offense, I would say I'm buying in on James Franklin in year 1 here. Like you mentioned, the ACC isn't exactly a gauntlet. Yeah, I could see it.
No, it's not a gauntlet.
The 2 injuries, the running back position, like you said, they're deep. Bill Davis, they're deep at running back. The offensive line, they can't afford to start the season missing 2 of their most important offensive linemen. No, I don't think a team in the country can afford that. So yeah, that's a blow right there.
I will say this about the opener as well. VMI is a really bad program. Like they're in any FCS power ratings, they would be power rated bottom 10. You're getting into fringe Division 2 territory with VMI, and they're going back to the triple option this year after going away from it for some years. Generally, that doesn't go very well in the first year when a team runs the triple. They go away from it, and then they try to come back to it. They have very little explosivity in the offensive side. The defense will be Swiss cheese. I could see James Franklin calling a meeting with the boosters and saying, hey, thanks for writing the check. Why don't you go get some of your money back? Because there's no question we're going to cover this. It's going to be 66-3. There's going to be a way. I don't know how they're going to get there, but it's going to be 66-3. This is disgusting, but I could only lay it. As a guy who knows the FCS and knows what VMI is all about, I mean, this could be 28-0 after the first quarter and 49-0 at the half, and you'll be looking at yourself being like, holy smokes, I wish I would have just laid it.
I might take your advice on that, and we certainly have seen James Franklin.
He knows the number.
He knows the number. I've been on the losing end of James Franklin knowing the number, and it is infuriating. What was that? That West Virginia game. Oh, my God. I almost whipped something through my TV.
That was disgusting. West Virginia was in that game till the end in the late scores.
I had West Virginia plus like 20.5. I had Penn State team total under too. Everything lost on that one play when they could have just ran the clock out. Oh my God. I almost broke my entire house. All right, let's move on to the next one. App State. All right. So I'm interested where you're going to take this one. So the way App State's offense is, I shouldn't say constructed. The strengths on the offense, they should have what they need to run the ball. The offensive line should be okay if it's healthy. They're pretty deep at running back. What do they have at quarterback, though? So I think if you're trying to paint a picture of App State's offense having some success, I think they can run the ball this year based on the talent they have. What are you seeing at the quarterback position here for App State?
It's mixed. Henry Hasselbeck, I'm not sold on. Tommy Ulatowski comes in from Kent State. He was a decent quarterback in the MAC and not a guy you want to lead the platoon. Malachi Singleton is likely the guy to win the job. I think he'll do okay. I mean, he played at Purdue, and you really can't get a good assessment when your team is just getting destroyed every week against Big Ten competition. But I think he'll be serviceable. I think he adds a dual threat element that can at least move the ball in the pocket. And App State's offensive line did give up some havoc last year and the year before. So he's going to need to be a little bit mobile and maneuver in the pocket in order to let plays develop. And I think he could do that.
These running backs, Cross, Lewis, Kanye Roberts, they've got running backs, but a couple of them dealing with injuries. Kanye Roberts missed all of last year. He was limited in the spring. Cross limited in the spring as well. He comes in from Arkansas State. But they are pretty deep at running back. And the offensive line, kind of the same deal here. I mean, it's not great, but I think there's a run game there. for Appalachian State. I think they can run the ball in Sunbelt play as long as everyone's healthy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, if the offensive line plays better, I think Jaquiz Cross is exquisite. He tore up the Sun Belt for 2 years at Arkansas State. He can wiggle. He can make guys miss. He can get yards after contact. I do agree with that. And Ja'Carri Lewis is also a good player. So they've got a 1-2 punch. They've got some guys they can rely on. I'm not in love with the receiver room. I don't know if we're going to get the explosiveness. Chris Lofton comes in from Gardner-Webb. He was okay at the FCS level. And then you're getting Sam Mbach or Baki. Samaj Fleming. I'm not enamored with the receiver room, to be honest with you. And I still think that the offensive line does have a ways to go. I don't love the staff. I don't love Dowell Loggins and what he brings to the table. I didn't like him when he was at South Carolina as an OC. I think he was at Arkansas before that. And I'm just not enamored with what they're trying to do. But I could see it being a little bit better than last season.
Cool. I agree. I think I had the same exact thought. I like them to run the ball, like the running backs, but the pass catchers, and I don't really know what's going on at quarterback, makes it tough to sell me the entire offense. That's kind of how I felt. On the other side of the ball, they've got solid linebackers here at App State. Nice little linebacking core here. After that, who's on this defensive line, Duck?
I mean, that's a huge concern here. They're going to rely on some FCS transfers. Jaquez or Jaheckes Brown, Aaron Clark, they come in from the FCS level. Caleb Strandstrom comes in from St. Thomas, which is of the non-scholarship FCS Pioneer Football League. I don't know. Kayshawn Harvey could be okay. Aiden Benton is a player that they like. But I just feel like they're so far behind it in the defensive trench, and I think that the secondary ultimately is going to pay the price because they're not going to create a lot of defensive havoc. They're not going to force the opposing quarterbacks to make quick decisions. They're not going to just be those disruptors that App State – when App State was making hay for all those years in the Sun Belt, they had disruptors on the defensive line. They could create turnovers. They could force fumbles. They could get the ball back to their offense. And they had such a prolific running game. I think they're halfway there with the running game. I don't know if I just don't see this defense really being, especially the secondary. I mean, there's 10 guys that come in to round out the two deep, and I'm just not sold on what they're trying to do defensively. I don't think they were very good last year, and replacing all 4 starters from last season are, it's going to be tough. Devin Henderson comes in from Liberty. Khalil Conley is a little bit inexperienced, and he's coming back from injury, so will he be in full form right away? Josh Williams is in from Dayton. Caleb Purdy from Tennessee Tech. You're just getting this FCS backfill from talent that was lost. And I don't know if I see a lot of improvement in the secondary.
Yeah, I don't see a path to this App State defense being good at all.
I don't either. And I will say this regarding the schedule, because the schedule is one where, you know what, the win total is appropriately priced at 5.5. I think it's a coin flip on if these guys make a bowl game or not. I think going to ECU and going to North Carolina State are tough. I think drawing Charlotte and Maine in the non-conference is a gift. I think 2-2 is what we'll see in the non-conference. And then they got Old Dominion and James Madison coming in right away. They have to win those games if they want to be a player in the Sun Belt East. I don't think they will. So I think we're getting 4 losses right away. Maybe they play some inspired football in their big rivalry game at Georgia Southern. It's called Deeper Than Hate. It's 2 programs that do not like each other. Georgia Southern beat them twice last year, once in the regular season, and then kind of after the exit meetings and after some of the players had kind of made a decision of what they wanted to do, App State got the call at 5-7 to go to a bowl game where they played them again and lost. Marshall, you got to go to. I think that the conference slate is one where, it's just tough with a lot of the good teams being in the East. I think the premier teams in the Sun Belt are JMU, Old Dominion, and Marshall. And you know what? App State has to play all 3 of them. I don't think they beat any of them. I don't think Georgia State is a gimme like it was before. I do think they can win the 2 at the end to possibly eke into a bowl game, but anything beyond 6-6, I think would be a stunning effort from this coaching staff. I do not love what's going on at App State. And I think if it goes really bad, they really need to figure out if they made the right coaching hire.
I agree with every word, and I could see it going really bad. I don't know what you're going to get out of the quarterback position. Maybe Singleton's awesome. Ball State.
I don't think he's awesome. I think he can be serviceable, but I just going on the road and winning and trying to do it. If you're playing a stout front and you can't run the ball and you're going to have those guys throw it, the receiver group is lacking. Mediocre team, definition of mediocre.
So speaking of mediocre, we're flipping it to. So I have Bowling Green in the graphics, but I don't have the graphics ready for Bowling Green. So we're going to push Bowling Green back to Friday. So the last team we're going to talk about is Ball State. And look, before everyone likes to dunk on Ball State, I'll say this: it was year one for Uremovich. He did not have a lot of talent. He kind of didn't even have a quarterback. Kyle Kelly, cool athlete, but not a quarterback. So this is a guy
not in that system.
No, this is a guy that took over a team that didn't have much talent at all. In fact, I would bet in talent composite, probably bottom 10, bottom 15 in the country. Didn't have a quarterback. Year one with the program. Yeah, of course it wasn't going to look great. And if you look at their efficiency numbers, it was terrible. They were one of the worst teams in college football. But you know what? This team was 4-0 at home, playing their 5th home game, with a chance to go 5-0 at home, undefeated at home for the first time since maybe ever. I forget what it was, but they almost went undefeated at home, this Ball State team. So I think there's something to say. The efficiency numbers were terrible. They weren't a good team, but they found a way to make life difficult for their opponents. They beat the Ohio, came in. They were 17.5-point dogs. It was my favorite bet of the week was Ball State. They beat
You'll never forget that one.
Never forget that one, no. So I have a soft spot for Uremovich in this Ball State team. No, there's not a lot of talent here, but I'd like to find a reason to have some faith in them. Can you help me find a reason?
I don't know. I don't love a lot of the talent churn. I think they're trying to do their best, and when you look at the system, they want to run the ball. It's generally a slower pace system. The rush pass, it's 2-1. They're very, very run heavy. And I agree, Kyle Kelly was just not the guy who ever looked comfortable in the system. He wasn't overly durable. He didn't take on contact. They're going to hand their keys over to Keldrick Luster, who's 5'10", 248 pounds as a quarterback. He should be much more durable. He should give them a lot of punch on third and short, fourth and short, situations where Ball State is going to be in frequently. They had 173 third down attempts last year, and they're going to have these short yardage attempts. And if they can use the quarterback in the run game, that makes the blocking numbers more favorable for the offense. So I do think there's an opportunity that they stay on the field. They only converted 33% on third down last season. That has to get better. And I think there's an opportunity that the run game has a little bit more punch. They only averaged 3.5 yards per carry on the ground last season, but if they get Luster involved, TJ Horton is explosive. Johnny Thompson could have a little bit of zip to him. Jalen Bond is a guy they really like. So I think the running back room, it's not elite, but it's deep enough to where they can rotate some fresh legs in there, and I think they'll have a little bit more punch, and at least situationally they'll be able to execute and stay on the field and keep the defense off the field. I don't expect a lot from the receivers, though. I'm not really enamored by what they're doing with C.J. Nelson, Jabari Smith, Isaiah Thacker. It's just kind of a middling group, in my opinion, and they're not going to throw the ball a lot. The reason they're not going to throw the ball a lot is because they surrendered sacks on 18% of dropbacks last season. They gave up 49 sacks, and they only threw the ball 278 times. So one of every 5 times you're throwing the ball, you're getting sacked, and they allowed 100 tackles for loss. What that tells me, for a team that runs the ball as much as Ball State does, you're allowing 100 tackles for loss. You're getting no push up front. The offensive line is not resetting the line of scrimmage before the running back gets the ball in his hands. And that's a huge issue, because if every other play or one of every 3 rushing attempts is a negative play or tackled at the line of scrimmage, and then one of every 5 pass attempts results in a sack, you're not sustaining drives. There's just no way to do it without the explosive plays, which they were not able to procure. You are getting 3 starters back on the offensive line. Cole Mosier, their center, is back. Tristan Cook and Chris Hood are their tackles that are back. So it's really about shoring up the interior. I think they're going to ask Jacob Judy and Zach Bandy to do that. I could see it being better. I could see them having much more punch. They only scored 15 points a game last year. I would guess they elevate that by over a touchdown per game, which is going to make them more competitive against the number. But what it's also going to do is it's going to keep the defense off the field. That defense was left out high and dry last year, and they just could not withstand the opponents on their schedule for 4 quarters. I don't know how much talent is here. They appear way down. Ben Marsh on the defensive line. Jared Beatty is a guy they like off the edge. He gives them an actual resemblance of a competent pass rusher coming in from Illinois. So maybe Keldrick Gilbert in the middle and Amir Glenn, I think, on the interior. They're undersized, but they're kind of feisty and pesty. I think they can be okay. Keldrick Gilbert, I said him. Keldrick Gilbert is a guy that I think could be all right. There's not a lot of depth, and they are an undersized unit. So I think when they get into MAC play against the tougher teams that are going to line up and play MAC football in the cold, I don't know how it's going to go against Toledo. Ohio's down, so maybe, but Central Michigan's probably a spot where they get murdered. The secondary, they love this Willie Zuha Hayes, and I think he's going to be a guy who can anchor the corner group. They're going to have another guy, I think it's going to be Chris Jackson, who played at Colorado State. He's going to come over and play corner. Sterling Smith is a guy who's going to be okay in the secondary at safety. They need more defensively. They need some defensive help in order to be really competitive and threaten to really surprise. I've only got them favored in 3 games this season, and really outside of the game against Stony Brook, the other games are all really nothing's assured. My issue with Ball State is the schedule. They only play 5 home games, and 7 of the first 7 games, 5 of them are on the road. They go to Ohio State. They're not going to win. They're not going to compete. They're 51-point underdogs. Is there some sort of takeaway they can draw from it? Yeah, maybe. Maybe when the starters are in, they get a couple first downs. They're able to punt and flip the field a couple times. I'm sure there's something they can take away from it. Stony Brook, they should win. At Liberty, at Kent, at Northwestern, at Bowling Green. That's a brutal 4 road games in 5, and the home game is against Toledo. So what's the start, Sauce? Is it 1-6 before Sac State? I will tell you, I think there's games at the end that are winnable. I think they can beat Sacramento State at home. I think they can beat UMass on the road. I think they can beat Buffalo.
Yep, me too.
I do. And Ohio is down. We've talked about them. We talked about them 6 weeks ago on this show. I think Ohio really struggles this season with their offensive continuity. I don't think their defense is going to be nearly as tough. So I'll tell you, I think that one is winnable. If they got on a roll, maybe it's 5-7, but they're going to have to pull a catastrophic upset. They're going to have to beat a team like Toledo where they're 20-point dogs like last year when they played Ohio, and they're going to have to win, or they're going to have to go to Kent State.
Bowling Green. That's the one they win.
I mean, you want to bet the under.
You like that?
You want to bet the under. I'll tell you. I think we'll talk about Bowling Green. I think they have a nasty defensive front, and they're going to play 13 personnel and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. If that total is 44.5 or higher, you want to go low.
Oh yeah, Ball State's going to do the same thing. Yeah, under whatever that total is.
17-13 final.
So, yeah, it's hard to have faith in them, especially on the road, because they look so bad on the road last year. But what you said about Ball State's offense, I'm glad you said it, because I was feeling the same way, but because I didn't want to sound like a Ball State fanboy, because I was gassing them up all last year because I bet on them a few times. The 2 pieces on the offensive line they brought back, what was their huge problem? They couldn't protect the quarterback. They couldn't throw the ball either. Kelly couldn't throw the ball even if he had a pocket, but he didn't have a pocket anyway. Well, they bring back the center and both tackles. Now they have a quarterback that has some size that can convert those 3rd and shorts, and they have tackles to give their quarterback who can now throw it. By the way, I think they're going to use a 2-quarterback system, by the way.
Mazzle. They're going to use Mazzle.
The guy from Colorado who can throw the ball better than Kyle Kelly. So with the 2-quarterback system, they now have a quarterback that can run the ball better than Kyle Kelly and a quarterback that can throw the ball better than Kyle Kelly. So they kind of upgraded both with these 2 quarterbacks. Both tackles back, which means more time. Give their defense a chance to rest. Just think that makes the whole team feel better. I think they can get to 4 or 5 wins personally, but I agree. If you're pulling up the schedule and asking me to point them out, it does get a little challenging. But
I do think they have to get out of the first stretch healthy. They've got to get out of Ohio State, Liberty, Toledo. Like, even if they lose those games, but they're healthy and they're not so beat up.
And are we just counting Kent State? Yeah, they're back. They're good. Because, like, it's not the craziest thing in the world that Kent State takes a step. I like Kent State, but, like, it's not the craziest thing in the world that Kent State might be terrible.
It's not. I think Kent State has I think Kent State has a better nucleus, and I think
Me
that
too.
we saw the results last season. They were a year ahead. So I'm willing to give Kent State the benefit of the doubt that the team is better. And so I'm not going to say it's a guaranteed win for Kent State. I just think that game's in the midst of so many tough games, and the whole stretch they need to get out of healthy. But I wouldn't be stunned, and I do think you want to look at some unders on this team. You want to look at an under when they play Toledo. You want to look at an under when they play
Bowling Green,
and maybe even Sac State. I wonder if we'll get any cold weather. It might be too early in the season yet, but maybe Muncie's a little cold and Sac State's a little uncomfortable. You really find out a lot about those California boys and how they want to tackle in the trenches when it's butt cold and
they're flying like 50,000 miles.
Well, yeah, the whole travel thing for Sac State is
crazy.
Bizarre. But when it's cold and you're running two tight ends and running the ball for 3-4 yards and you can't stop it, it is just no worse feeling in the world for a defender.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm rooting for Uremovich. I'm in his corner. So guys, leave if you want. We'll be back on Friday night. Comment whatever teams you want us to talk about. Well, I mean, we have teams that we haven't gotten to, and we'll pick teams. But if you have any requests, just throw them out there. Just leave it in the
Absolutely. I mean, 478 people that are sitting up at 2:00 in the morning Eastern time listening to us. We appreciate that. Whatever you guys want to talk about, make sure we know about it so we can get it on the schedule.
Absolutely. Duck, I'm sure the people watching already know where they can find you, but in case somebody's watching that doesn't know where they can find you, where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm all over the place, and I've kind of been on the media tour this summer, but Action Network is where you can find most of it. We just got through our Group of 6 podcast series. All the written previews will be out this week and next week as well. We're going to start weekly pods 3 or 4 times a week. We'll have a Discord with Action Network. I'm doing the Bet US show. Actually, Jeff Nadeau is hosting that, and so I'll be recurringly on there on Mondays with Nadeau talking college football. I'm going to be doing a show with Steve Fezzik on Thursdays.
I was just hanging out with Fezzik.
I'm going to be on your show twice a week on Wednesdays and Friday nights talking college football all season long, and Twitter as well. So, I mean, there's a lot happening. So if you want to talk college football, I'm not hard to get a hold of.
Yeah, I was just watching the Hall of Fame game. Watched the first half, hanging out with Fezzik. But yeah, make sure you give Duck a follow. Step on a Duck 1. That's his handle right there on the screen. He's doing shows all over the place. He'll tweet out when he's going live where. So make sure you show him some support. Everybody, thanks for watching. Enjoy your Thursday. Make sure you bet responsibly. See you all back here tomorrow night. John Legaze is on tomorrow night. So see you all back. And then Duck will be back on Friday night. Any requests for games? Leave them